We've headed from Abu Dhabi last week to Tech. Oh yeah. Well, saying that they will commentate and then they won't because it really pisses me off. And good afternoon to you. With 3 races left in the season, the title battle has now reached its near crescendo. The title can't be won tonight, but for championship leader Valtteri Bottas, he can get within 1 race of his first ever TRL championship title. We've headed from Abu Dhabi last week to Texas on this Saturday afternoon, and we welcome you along to round 10 of 12 in season 5 of Turbo Racing League from the Circuit of the Americas. I'm Mr. Storm, back for the last 3 races of the season, this week joined by a friend I've known for over 5 years, the wonderful Liam Talks Motorsport. Good afternoon to you, Liam. Welcome to TRL.
Thank you
You
very
actually
much.
commentated 1 race before in the past, and it was actually around this track. It was a number of seasons ago. But as a first proper introduction to the league, how excited are you?
I am very, very excited. This is my second ever league race. As Mr. Storm said, we've done 1 race together before, and that was again at Circuit of the Americas. So when I heard I was getting called up for it, and I found out it was at Texas, I was thinking, oh, bit of deja vu. But yes, I'm very, very excited to be here.
Also, interestingly enough, you actually have F1 24 now. You didn't have F1 23, so it was a very janky experience whenever you last did commentary for the league. But you are here. You do have the game. We have our own separate ways of watching whichever drivers, and we're going to be getting underway in around 15 minutes' time. The lobby is open for anyone who is wondering, and I'm probably just going to spam invite a lot of people who can help me invite the rest off the lobby. We're going to start off with grid walk. Of course, 3 races left until the end of the season. The updated championship standings aren't out. That was supposed to be done, but hasn't been. We haven't got all the penalties sorted, so we're just relying off information that I've kind of compiled together. But we will start off with, let's see, who do I want to talk to? I would like to speak with Hackeron. We'll start off with him.
Yes, hello.
There. Hackeron, afternoon to you. Obviously, I was last there to watch you have a decent enough race 2 weeks ago. Coming into Texas now, we're at the end of the season. There is still a lot to play for. How confident are you coming into this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident coming to this race. I haven't practiced as much, but I believe I can pull something off today. But yeah, the results will tell.
How do you think your qualifying pace is coming into this one, considering you started 15th in Jeddah?
I'm hoping today my qualifying pace will be good. Jedi didn't have a setup, so in my game crashed, so that was a whole issue. But today for qualifying, I believe I'll be maybe like top 7 around there, maybe.
Right, thank you very much, Hackeron. Best of luck.
Yep, thank you.
Just gonna try and scoot around as many people as I can because obviously we started a couple of minutes late. We'll get a quick word with Thomas off Red Bull.
Yep.
Evening, Thomas. You won in Jeddah after an absolutely phenomenal race, but over the last couple of weeks, you've also been helping out with highlights packages, which is quite fun. Away from that, though, we are expecting the Portuguese Grand Prix highlights from season 3 to drop later on this evening. In relation to tonight's race, do you think you can emulate the Jeddah win?
Probably not. The track isn't as strong for me. My qualifying pace isn't as strong as I thought it would be for Jeddah. I knew I had the pace there, but I'll just try and get a top 5, somewhere near the top. And then if I'm nearer to the end with no pens, anything can happen.
Where do you think that you're going to finish the season in? Because the last championship update we had, you were 3 points behind Oscar. Do you feel like you could finish on the podium in the championship? Do you feel you could put Red Bull on the podium in the constructors?
Constructors maybe, because we've got academy drivers coming through and racing for us now, which is good. Drivers' Championship, I think Oscar's quite strong in P3 there. So I think P4 is probably the best I can realistically do. Maybe if I string together, a few podiums, a few wins, then that will maybe get me into the podium spot. But yeah, just take it race by race and see how it goes.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you.
We'll speak to his opposite number in the championship then, Oscar.
Hello?
Oscar, a lot of high praise from Thomas there, considering the fact that he thinks that you're going to stay in front of him for the rest of the season. Of course, I would hope that you hope that you'd finish in third in the championship. Realistically speaking, how do you think tonight's going to go?
I don't know. I would like to have a good race. We don't know. I don't know so much about my opponent's pace. I know my pace, and yeah, we just see what will happen.
Looking towards tonight as well, it's been a mixed bag of a season. You obviously probably aren't going to fight for the title. Let's be honest. That does seem like a foregone conclusion at this point now, with Dean not winning tonight. But do you think you can get second now, considering the fact Dean hasn't or won't be attending tonight?
Let us hope so. The best. Like I always say, I wish to have the best position as possible. But we just need to fight, and yeah, let's hope for the best.
Well, thank you very much, Oscar. And we're going to go straight to Anfield, where Mo Salah has scored a second goal, a second penalty of the match to give Liverpool a 3-1 lead over Southampton. We're going to have
What
the
about-
classified football results in just a moment. Let's head to Season 2 champion who's making his return to the TRL grid, Ryu Zapu.
What's up?
Evening, Ryu. It's been a while. How excited are you to get back to business?
You know, I am actually pretty excited, even if those games pretty pretty bad.
I know that. Any hopes for tonight's race? What do you think you can get done?
I just want to stay out of trouble and get some points. I'm not gonna be fighting for the win unless something crazy happens. But I just want to get reacclaimed for these next two races and hopefully fight for it next week at Vegas.
Are you excited that the man that derailed your season 1 title hopes is racing tonight?
I mean, we're good friends. I mean, oh, Titan? No. I thought you were talking about Dean for some reason. So, I mean, it's behind
It's
me.
been a long time. I can see why there was a bit of confusion there.
Yeah. No, but it's behind me. I'll joke about it occasionally, but I mean, there's nothing extremely personal. So I mean, I'll just keep my head down and not think about it during the race if I'm near him.
Right, thank you very much, Ryan. Best of luck for tonight.
Thank you.
Just a little public service announcement to Oscar and Hecaron. Just do me a favor and help me out with the invites. Liam, anything to expect tonight? What? Actually, I'm gonna ask you a different question. What do you like about Kota? Even in all aspects of motorsport.
Well, I mean, I was just writing down some facts there. What I like about it is that it's very, very different to a lot of the other Herman Tilke tracks, which are very, 90-degree, long swooping. Well, I mean, this does have many long swooping corners, but it's unique in that it's survived on the Formula 1 grid, unlike many of his other Tilke-dromes, Hockenheim, Youngam, and the Bud International Circuit. They've not survived on the Formula 1 grid, but this has. And what I enjoy so much about the Circuit of the Americas is that there's many overtaking opportunities. It's a very, very lovely circuit to drive around in qualifying. And it's one of those rare combos that you get where it's good to drive around in qualifying, and it's also got loads of overtaking opportunities. Because there's some tracks that are good to drive around, but, don't offer many overtaking opportunities, like, Monaco or, in the past, Sochi, and even Algarve as well. And then there's some where you can overtake around, but the lap isn't exactly, as enjoyable. Monza's one that stands out for me because there's so many straights, so you don't need to be as perfect as, it's more so about the engine and the setup of the car rather than the driver's ability. But here, it's a bit more about the driver's ability, especially in Sector 1 and Sector, and the end of Sector 2 and the beginning of Sector 3. So that's what I like a lot about the Kota circuit.
Well, thank you very much, Liam. I'm just going to come back to you in a minute. I'm trying to get the results from last week's race in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, I wasn't there for it. And as I said earlier, we don't have the results, the official results, nor do we have the championship standings. Just a quick reminder that Oscar and Magnus Sheep tonight serve qualifying bans for incidents in last week's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have got most of the tickets sifted through, but we don't have the official graphics up. I'm trying to get the unofficial race results so I can try and compile some sort of championship standings, whatever you want to call it. Oscar doesn't have a qualifying ban. That was Ronnie's mistake. He's just put that in staff chat. But Magnus Sheep does have a qualifying ban tonight. Right. Around 7 or so minutes until we are ready to go for qualifying. Who do I want to talk to next? There are a couple of people. Let's talk to McLaren team principal Sen Manders.
Hello.
Evening, Sen. What do you expect from your boys tonight?
With D not racing, I mean Stefan did it good last time, and Adam is also very good. I mean I expect the best from them both, but a bad result can happen. It's not really important at the moment for me.
So the last updated championship standings we had, you were sixth on 75 points, only 5 points behind Mercedes and only 6 behind Red Bull. Do you feel like leapfrogging both Mercedes and Red Bull, who have previously both had incredible dynasties in this, will be a really good end to the season for you?
In a championship, and it could be, true at the end of the season, but yeah, it's up for grabs at the moment.
Thanks very much, Sen. Best of luck for your drivers tonight. The lobby continues to populate. I haven't actually checked in a while how many we have down to race tonight. I think it's around 15, something like that. Oh no, it's not. It's 7. We've got 17 drivers accepted to race tonight, which means that we're going to get full qualifying again, hopefully, if all of them join. So that I did not expect that whatsoever. A little bit more time to spend with you, Liam.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was just doing a little drawing of the track just so I can be well prepared for the upcoming race. So, yeah.
Right, while we wait then for the lobby to populate, I'm just going to run through the classified football results for this Saturday, the 8th of March 2025, and we're going to start off in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Fulham 1, latest score. Crystal Palace 1, Ipswich Town 0, Liverpool 3, Southampton 1, latest score. Brentford versus Aston Villa and Wolves versus Everton are evening kickoffs. In the Sky Bet Championship, Coventry City 3, Stoke City 2, Watford 1, Millwall 2, Bristol City 1, Hull City 1, latest score. Burnley 3, Luton Town 0, latest score. Derby County 2, Blackburn Rovers 1, latest score. Plymouth Argyle 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3, Sheffield United 1, Preston North End 0, Sunderland 2, Cardiff City 1, Swansea City 1, Middlesbrough 0, and West Bromwich Albion 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0 is the latest score. The Sky Bet League 1, Crawley Town 1, Reading 1, Stockport County 0, Charlton Athletic 0, Barnsley 0, Blackpool 3, Birmingham City 1, Lincoln City 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Huddersfield Town 0, Burton Albion 1, Bolton Wanderers 2, latest score. Exeter City 2, Shrewsbury Town 0, Leyton Orient 1, Northampton Town 2, Peterborough United 1, Wycombe Wanderers 1, score. Stevenage 1, Mansfield Town 1, Wigan Athletic 1, Cambridge United 0, and Wrexham 1, Rotherham United 0. And finally in the Sky Bet League 2, Wimbledon 2, Knox County 0, Walsall 1, Grimsby Town 3, Barrow 2, Accrington Stanley 0, Cheltenham Town 0, Colchester United 1, Chesterfield 2, Newport County 1, Doncaster Rovers 2, Swindon Town 2, Fleetwood Town 1, Port Vale 1, latest score, Gillingham 1, Bradford 0, latest score, Harrogate Town 1, Carlisle United 0, Milton Keynes Dons 2, Morecambe 1, Salford City 1, Crewe Alexandra 1, and Tranmere Rovers 2, Bromley 1, latest score. We're not going to go into Europe because we don't have time. Just a quick late goal to update you about at the Amex. It is Brighton 2, Fulham 1. Joao Pedro has scored a 97th minute penalty to win the match, and I'm especially happy about that because I have Joao Pedro in my Fantasy Premier League, which I'm very, very happy about.
And
Things you love to
and I know
see.
many of you are wanting to know about the charity match. It is currently 8-8, and XQC is lumping around on the ground after making a double save. So that is very interesting. Speed and Zerka have finally scored their first charity match goals, and Speed's actually gotten 2 assists today so far. So that's an update from the Sidemen charity match if any of you are interested in that.
Burnley have just scored a late goal against Luton to make it 4-0, of course. Tom Brady isn't coming out of retirement because James Trafford let a goal in the FA Cup. Yeah, that's several in the FA Cup last weekend. But in the Championship, they've only 8 or 9 goals all season, which is absolutely remarkable. The time's coming up to 1 minute to 5 UK time. Thanks very much for being with us. It is a little bit of a different YouTube channel this week. We know that. Things have happened, unfortunately. Hopefully, we don't have to rely on Liam's YouTube channel ever again. That's not a bad remark towards the channel.
None taken. None
hopefully
taken.
hopefully we can rely on you in the future.
Thank you very much.
With just 3 races left.
You've dug yourself out the hole
TRL
there.
season.
You've dug yourself out the hole there.
I'm very good at doing that. Right, 15 in the lobby. Sorry, 14 in the lobby. I need to go into spectator mode. We've still got a couple more to join us in the next couple of minutes, and I'm going to sort the lobby out. Approaching full time at Anfield now. Liverpool 16 points clear. The full time whistle has gone after coming back from a goal down. Liverpool win 3-1 at Anfield. So
Do you know who else won?
16
Do you know
points
who
clear.
else won 3-1 against Southampton? Luke.
No, I don't.
United did after being 1-0
Probably they
down.
did, yeah.
Yo,
The crucial thing is United are 14th for the league, and we are 16 points clear now.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Yeah,
We get it. All hoity-toity, all hoity-toity. I mean, we didn't
Yeah,
get beat by
Liam-
Plymouth, but
we beat Southampton 5-1. 5-1, we beat
I'm just going
Southampton.
through the race results from last week's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So Bottas won. Sweaty second for McLaren. Roscoe third for Alpine. Magnuship was fourth. Smotchek fifth. Streezy, excuse me, that's amazing. Hector on an F1 short at the top, wrapping an Aston Martin for 2 DNFs. I'm not sure how that left the championship. I'm not going to go into the mental arithmetic of it now. But as far as I am aware, if my maths is right, I think Bottas is at least 40 points clear in the championship. I'm just going to check that now.
So, yeah, because I want to
Yeah,
know
he's
as well
44 points
for my
clear,
own
so-
info. So, what's the standings looking like at the moment? Look for the viewers and for
I'm just gonna
myself.
I'm gonna try and calculate that. Hold on. Give me.
I am 54 points
Wait,
clear
there
of
was a
Oscar
sprint
right
race
now.
last weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 54 points
That
ahead
makes
of
sense,
Oscar.
yeah.
So, what's the points count exactly then? If you
I think it's
do
like
either of you know?
100
I am at the 158. Oscar is at 98.
Okay, cool.
So
I think, I mean,
basically-
something like-
so 60 points. Did you say, Bottas?
It's 56, I think.
Wait, you said 158 and
54.
98. What?
Yeah, I have 152 points. Oscar has 98 points. The gap is 54 points.
100. So you have 152.
I
is
might
that
be
right?
on 101 though. I think I might be on 101. Penalty for
Yeah, so
Sweaty
can you set up
might
the
come.
lobby?
Honestly, we
Hold
don't
on,
know
just
exactly what the
drop
standings
me,
are at the moment.
Bottas, just drop me your estimations of whatever it is in DMs, and we'll try and just go by there.
Yeah, because it's like trying to figure out how the old Formula 1 point system worked. If you don't know that, basically
Your 15 best results.
yeah, specific amount of results counted back then. So it was very confusing for them. It's not like it's
Okay,
so simple now
So
when it
we
comes to the
do
points
we do have
compared to
some
then,
sort of a
but-
basis, and if this basis is correct, then Bottas leads by 54 points, and if
Yep.
both Oscar and Bottas DNF tonight, that would give Bottas the championship coming into Vegas.
No, mate, we're having sprint race in Vegas.
Yeah, 54 points the gap with, I believe. Do we have another sprint race coming up? I want
Yeah,
to check.
Yes, one-
Vegas.
Yes, in Las Vegas. That's what I said.
Yeah.
So Bottas needs to be
still,
58 points ahead of me.
So
No, 60.
I have to do the mental gymnastics in my head. This is going to be a lot easier when we change the point system. for
I need to
this
be
season.
six. I need
No,
if I score 6 points, I win the championship.
Yeah.
Oh, not Stroll, but if I outscore Oscar by 6 points, I win the championship. That is.
Yeah. That's what you need to know, but we'll keep
Yeah, we will
set up the lobby storm now.
update it when we can. Once we have the information for that.
And when we can is whenever we can get our act together, because it normally does take quite a while to get the results out. Unfortunately, we've 16 drivers out of a potential 17, I believe, in the lobby. We'll wait another 2 or so minutes before we get underway. I still need to do the lobby settings, so I'm just gonna sort that. We'll try and get a driver in. We're gonna go off the air for a couple of minutes. We're gonna mute ourselves on stream. We're gonna come back when qualifying is about to begin for round 10 of 12 in this season's TRL Championship.
Right, that sounds good. I'll go and mute my mic.
We got 18 now. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be full quality then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All those assists off. To go racing. Liam, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Are you there?
Bob, mute your mic if you can.
Unmute yourself, Liam. Come on.
Oh, wait a second. Am I on mute? Shit, hang on.
Yeah, you're muted on Discord if you didn't know.
Shoot, my bad, guys. Right, there we go. Right, all good. Sorry,
Right.
I forgot I was muted on this. I was trying to say that I had muted myself on. I'd muted the whole thing so you guys could have talked amongst yourselves.
Have you unmuted us now?
Yes, I've unmuted everything, so everything is okay, and it's 9-8 now in the Sidemen charity match, unsurprisingly to Sidemen, because it is scripted. Right, anyway.
But we do not care. We are almost ready to go.
Indeed.
Then. The lobby is about to load in. It's overcast weather for the 10th qualifying session of the TRL season. It all hangs in the balance tonight. By our estimations, Valtteri Bottas has to outscore Oscar by 6 points tonight to win the World Championship for the first time. And for the first time ever, he's been trying for 2 years. It could all go right on the night. I'm Mr. Storm, joined by Liam Talks Motorsport in the commentary box. Good evening to you, my friend. We're in for a great night, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed. Can Bottas claim the title tonight, or will Oscar take it to Vegas and potentially beyond That is the question that we will all be asking. But before we can get into the race, we of course need to settle qualifying. Who will be Ayrton Senna and who will be Charles Leclerc and who will be absolutely
No one.
awful on over one lap?
Oscar, please mute your mic. It's getting ridiculous at this point. Anyway, welcome along. The session is about to start. 18 minutes of Q1, 15 of Q2, and Racing Diabetes has already retired and left the session. So that essentially renders Q1 pointless now, because Magnus Sheep has a qualifying ban. So we can sit back for the next 17 minutes or so, because nothing is going to happen, because the spots of people who are going out have already been filled. Lovely. A quick score update at Murrayfield in the Guinness Men's Six Nations. It's Scotland 14, Wales 3. Of course, Ireland hammered by France earlier on this afternoon. That, of course, ended their chances of yet another Grand Slam and might just have ended their chances of winning the Six Nations altogether. Season 2 champion Ryu Zappu will be the first out on track this evening. Of course, he has got such a great history in this league. And as I say that, he was jumped by championship leader Bottas, but Ryu's going to go straight up his inside.
I'll need the usernames. Oh, there we go. Right. So, I've got the onboards now working. So, I'll make sure, I think everything's working fine in that regard. I'll go and check the audio. Just to make sure that the balance is
problems
fine.
Anyway. But of course, Racing Diabetes retired then left the session. I'm not sure what that's about. I'll try and get a bit of info into that. Magnus Sheep, of course, retiring due to the fact that he has a qualifying ban. So only one spot really to be decided with who actually goes out in this session. So if you're in the top 15, relax. Unless you're at the very bottom, then you might not need to. You might actually have to go for a second run. But we're going to see how this qualifying session goes down. Of course, we had full qualifying back in Jeddah. This seems like a sort of a storm effect. Every time I'm here to commentate, there is a full qualifying session. However, that phenomena may work.
Indeed.
But Bottas cutting all the corners he needs to on the intermediate tyre.
I'd like to probably likely compare it to the Indy 500, as in the Indy 500, of course, all but one place is secured on the grid depending on the amount of people that try to qualify for it. So yeah, currently there is a little bit of lag, but we're trying our best right now to get everything set up. I am, of course, the TV director as well as a commentator, so it can be a little bit tricky to keep a track on everything, especially considering I'm using a keyboard.
Follow my lead with how I talk, because that's the most important thing of all. We're going to start off with Season 2 champion Ryu Zappu, who's going to get this qualifying session underway in earnest, coming up the massive gargantuan hill up towards turn 1, going from 8th gear all the way down to 3rd from around 300 kilometers an hour all the way down to 100. Huge slide out of turn 1. As he tries to keep that Ferrari in a straight line, heading through the S section of 3, 4, and so on and so forth. In 7th gear for the most part of it, drops down to 6th, first sector split. It's going to be a 25.484 for the Season 2 champion. The man whose home race is next week, of course, the Nevada native, looking to rediscover his former glories as a once great champion of this great league. Heading through turn number 11 now and down the back straight. Of course, we've had some significant moments down this portion of the track over the years in Formula 1 history. I'll take you back to 2022, of course, when Fernando Alonso had his moment, and then coming up to this corner in 2014, Lewis Hamilton passing Nico Rosberg for the lead of the race. Theo has joined the lobby. I'm not sure if he was there in the first place. I'll get a bit of information on that.
I don't believe he was, because I can't see him on the timing screen.
2.106, heading up towards that triple, almost sort of left-hander, and then the triple right as he approaches the end of this lap. 5th gear, rising into 6th. Won't reach 7th just about yet.
Oh, at a moment.
60 kilometers an hour. He'll flick it left 2 more times for turn 18, then up the hill towards turn 19. It hasn't been the worst lap in the world, but the Season 2 champion, the Ferrari man, will come up towards the detection line to 1 minute 32.482 to get the section underway. TJ Rexy is next, 1 minute 33.403. Then the McLaren of Smotchek, who is going to start a lap. Liam, take us through it.
Yes, so here we are running down the main straight, 7th gear, now heading into 8th. Unfortunately, my screen's pretty laggy, so I might be a little bit behind on the calling, but heading in towards turn 1. Oh, he's had a bit of a moment there, trying to get through the corner. He might cut it a little bit there. Unfortunately, I don't have the timings up with me at the moment, so I'm going to have to go off of the onboard and see what time he is putting in, but heading in towards the fast left right section, one of the most flowing sections of Formula 1. I like to compare this to going on a roller coaster ride at one of the many tourist attractions in the UK, Alton Towers, whatever you want to go for. Now heading into the left, very tight corner. You have to make sure you don't run too wide on the exit and invalidate your lap. It's all about that entry though. Are you going to take a wider line and focus on your exit, or are you going to go more inside and potentially compromise your exit a little bit? Now, 100-meter board, you brake for the left-hander, and another little bit of snap of oversteer heading in towards the end of the second sector. The right-hander hit the apex on the exit, and then head towards the braking zone for the end of the roller coaster section. Now towards the triple right-hander. It's all about making sure that you find the right line here and you don't get too much wheel spin or snaps of oversteer as you head into the left-hander, and then in towards the last corner. The biggest thing here is making sure you don't go over track limits due to the fast tempo of these corners. And coming across the line, he has set a 1:31.302, nearly 2 seconds down on his teammate Sweaty.
Quick update in the scripted Sidemen charity match. It's 9-9 minimum intermiss first penalty for the Sidemen. Right, most of the field still haven't set lap times. We've got 19 drivers in the lobby now, which means that there is a little bit more to play for in Q1, but still not much considering the fact that 17 drivers will have the ability to set lap times. Of course, we will be reminding you all throughout the evening that Bottas only has to outscore Oscar by 6 points to claim his first ever TRL championship. And he would do it in relatively early fashion considering the fact the last couple of TRL title races have all gone to the final race of the season. I'm riding on board with Excusu now, but I'd like to turn my attention to former Season 1 Tireless Racing League champion Sam Roses on an outlap. We will ride with Excusu though in the Haas, who's down in 17th place, while we wait though as he heads up down towards turn number 11. 282 kilometers an hour is maximum speed coming out of the S section. 200 meters from the DRS line has a huge slide coming out off that tight left-hander, activates the rear slot on his rear wing as he flies down the back straight, 300 kilometers an hour plus, into 8th gear, then down towards turn number 12. From 8th gear all the way down to 2nd, from 300 all the way down to 100. Sector split 1 minute 1.973. Excusu hasn't had the best season for Haas. He's struggled in many different races. Tonight will be a great chance to prove yourself to the masses. There are many team principals that will try to shake around their lineups for season 5.5 and beyond. Of course, that mini season coming after this one as we await the arrival of F1 25. To the final corner comes Excusu in the Haas. It's been a relatively solid lap for him as he sets a 1 minute 31.990 to go second and slot himself onto the Q1 front row. A relatively decent lap there.
So yeah, he is the second driver into the 131s. Of the 9 drivers that we've had lap times from so far, we've got Bottas. Is that Bottas on the 134? Yeah. And then, because he attempted to go out on intermediates when it was probably better to go out onto the softs, but he's still got another 9 minutes to rectify that, and he shouldn't have very many problems with that anyway. Mr. Business in the 136s, he goes down into last place in 11th, and then we've got 2 drivers very tight together, Smotchek and Rexy, both in the 133s. Then we've got most of the field in the 132s, so we've got the Ferrari on the 132.9, Marcus on the 132.7, Chris on the 132.6, Zap on the 132.4, and then the RB on the 132.2. So,
I remind everyone every week that, of course, please ignore the purple sector times as we ride on board with Sam Rose in 16th. I do remind everyone to ignore them every weekend until we get to the business end of a session because the game lies. I don't know why it does that, but Sam Rose certainly not on the best lap time. Of course, he has been Mercedes' stalwart for a lot of seasons now. Up towards the final corner and up towards the line. Is it going to be enough to get him onto the second row? It is the back of the second row in 4 minute 32.349. Everyone in the one group. Apart from our main 2 men. Right, Titans on a lap time. He goes 13th, 1 minute 36.810. which is quite embarrassing considering the fact he's on the softs and the driver in front of him, Mr. Business, was on the intermediate compound tyre. Wapping also on the intermediate, he's starting a lap time, but we are going to ride on board with Oscar, who's in 19th. He needs a good result tonight. He needs to outscore his championship rival as it stands by 6 points to take the title battle to Las Vegas. And then he'll need a miracle next week to take it to Brazil on the final day of the season. Oscar with a decent enough first sector lap time coming down towards turn number 11. Dropping it from 7th gear all the way down to 3rd, using a lot of the inside of that corner. 100 meters to the DRS line, activates the rear slot on his rear wing as he flies down back straight of the Circuit of the Americas. Of course, NASCAR raced here last week. They would have just come onto the track a couple of meters before where we were a couple of seconds ago. Oscar towards the middle sector split. 1 minute dead, 9.85. And that is quite big, as we have seen drivers go into the 1 minute ones, some in the 1 minute twos. Oscar proving the fact that he means business. He's never really had a chance to win a TRL title. He's never gotten close enough. Some could argue this season he's not close enough, but he has the outside chance of pulling off, I suppose, the biggest shock title comeback in TRL history towards the final corner. It has looked like it's been a good lap. Is it enough to put him on to first position? It is, and it's by 0.5 of a second.
Wow, first driver
1 minute
in the
30.911. Great lap.
So these lap times are incredibly nearly 6 seconds quicker than the race lap record by Charles Leclerc in 2019 in real life. So there's a little statistic for you that even despite the regulation changes, well, they're still going quick as Oscar cuts the S's section, but not really anybody on a flying lap right now. Everybody else is just seemingly coming into the pits, as Chris has a bit of an issue there trying to get into the pits. So he's going to have to come round and do another lap, but I don't know how much fuel he actually
Ironically
has.
enough, he's in a Williams, and he thinks he's David Coulthard in the 1995 Australian Grand Prix. Theo is on a run. Yeah, Theo is on a run. On the soft compound tyre, up towards the line. He hasn't had the best season and goes into 10th, one of the very few drivers in the 1 minute 33s, but he only has to improve by a 10th to get into the 1 minute 32. 6 minutes left in Q1. Oscar leads the way from Sweaty in second, Excusu in third, Westrezi, Samro, Zapu, Chris Raman, Marcus, Exfirto, and Theo rounding out the Q1 top 10. Currently going out at the moment. Racing Diabetes and Magnaship. Racing Diabetes left the session early on. Magnaship serving a qualifying ban. And Wapping, who's on the intermediate compound time. Surprised he hasn't changed the softs to the mediums yet. Titan on the bubble. Heckeron on a flying run. We'll ride on board with him in the Mercedes. 24.946 in the first sector. Of course, he didn't have the worst Saudi Arabian Grand Prix 2 weeks ago. Of course, his internet was playing up. His game was playing up. He couldn't qualify in that race. He had a chance to win it at one stage. But given the unpredictable and quite frankly unbelievable nature of that race, he didn't get the chance to win it after all. Coming down the back straight now, 6th gear, activates the DRS, using a little bit of his battery there as he rises into 7th, and then finally one last push into 8th gear, coming down towards turn number 12 now. He will want to have a good last couple of races, because Mercedes... Oh, he's had a huge slide there and he's invalidated his...
And that's certainly going to compromise him because, well... Gonna have to go around it again. Is that a set of tires potentially wasted for him? I mean, that reminds me of IndyCar last weekend in St. Petersburg. Alexander Rossi was on a lap on the alternative tires, which were the quickest of the two, and he had a moment, and as a result he didn't have enough fuel, and he had to do his final run on the primaries, and he didn't go through, even though he probably had the pace to.
Yeah, Heckeron's going to pit, so Heckeron has time to refuel the car and to get another set of tires on, or he's going to remain the same set of tires. Oscar has retired from the session. He thinks he's done enough. Fletty, interestingly enough, wants to go in again as his teammate Smotchek goes into 3rd position. So Sweaty is going to try to get back into 1st position as he was at the start of the session. Take us through his flying run, my friend.
Well, it's all about psychology here, I suppose. On board with him heading in towards turn 1, hit to the apex, make sure that you get as good an exit as possible. Activating that overtake, you got to use your battery, but make sure you don't use it too much. You don't want to be running out before the main straight, before the big back straight. In the second sector of the track after turn 11, heading in towards the end of the S's section and towards the end of the first sector split. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten exactly how quick his times are in relative to the others, but heading in towards the left-hander at turn 11, trying to make sure that, once again, as I said on the previous lap that I commentated on, you don't compromise your exit by going too wide or too deep into the too inside into the corner, I should say. Getting a nice slipstream, but gets well out of the way. Does his teammate? Oh no, he doesn't. Oh, and that's his lap ruined. And Smotchek and Sweaty are certainly going to be having words, because Sweaty's lap has been completely hijacked there by Smotchek, and well, I don't think he's going to be improving on that look, is he?
Sadly for the world, the Sidemen, whatever you want to call it, farce, has ended with Ice Show Speed winning it for the YouTube.
Yes!
It's a disgrace towards humanity.
Get in
2 minutes
there.
40 seconds left in the session. Sweaty, obviously with his lap ruined. What's the point in going around again? Just piss, get your Q1 done. You're through. You don't need to worry. And he hits the wall coming into the pit lane as well. I'm not sure why people are doing that. It doesn't feel right. 2 minutes. Boss Test is on a flying run at the moment. He wasn't a flying run, so 1 minute 31.591. The only driver that hasn't set a lap time is Hecron. Of course, we were mentioning him earlier on. Of course, he had his moment on his last flying run. He came in, he pissed, fuel issues sorted, presumably a new set of tyres on. I'm not sure about that. But we're going to have to find out whether he has the pace
It is
to
a new
make
set.
it into
It says 0 laps
Q2.
on my screen, so I've got everything up. I've got a question. How do you have the sector, if it's green or purple or not? Because I've got the lap time top right.
Turn on full track map.
Ah, thank you. Okay, got that now. Right, we can now go on board. We could go and give you a proper experience by just going on board without any of the graphics.
We don't do that in TRL.
But we don't do that.
You don't know this rodeo as well as I.
Exactly.
So we're going to ride on board with
I am-
Hecron as he comes on
I'm a
towards
rookie
his
to
do or
this,
die lap here in Q1. It's of course a massive run for him. He had his qualifying problems in Jeddah. He does not want to repeat of that this weekend. Small lock up of the front left coming into turn 1 as he heads down the hill towards turn number 2 using his overtake button as he rises from 5th to 6th. He won't reach 7th just yet. He does now as he flicks it from left to right again. As he comes up towards the first sector split. It's a 25.011 for the Season 2 Championship contender who has fallen off in recent times. F1 24, not a good game for many of our drivers, certainly not for Hecron, whose prime was certainly back on F1 23 through turn 11, third gear, dropping it down to 85 kilometers an hour. Not the worst run in the world as he was going to get a little bit of tow from his teammate Sam Rose. The Mercedes drivers have always been good with teamwork. Well, maybe not in Season 2 of Tireless Racing League. It's been so long since we changed the names, of course I'm going to get a little bit mixed up between them. 58 seconds elapsed of Hecron's lap up towards that middle sector split. 1 minute 1.423. Third gear rising up towards 4th. He ruined his lap around this part last time. Massive lock up at the front left. Certainly will affect him by a couple of tenths, but it does look like he is relatively safe. The session timer has elapsed. We are done in Q1, and Hecron is going to be the first of the drivers who are in serious danger to set a lap time to try and save his qualifying up towards the line. Here comes Hecron. It's a 1 minute 31.522, and it's an incredible lap. Wapping first sector split. He's 8 tenths, nearly a second up. Of course, Wapping was not quick at all in that first run. Mr.
Currently on
Business
board
coming
with
up
him.
towards the final corner, 2 seconds up on his personal best. Titan's also improving, but here comes Mr. Business. He goes 13th, 1 minute 32.784. So it's between Titan and Wapping who get the final spot in Q2. Rexy is on the bubble, but Titan's going to have to find an absolute miracle. He's 2 and a bit tenths of a second up, and he's run wide there coming from turn number 13. Wapping is, of course, on a fantastic run, but he locks the front left coming in towards turn 12. Middle sector split, 2.5 seconds up, and it almost seems guaranteed that Wapping is going to make it into Q2, unless he has a major mistake. So will TJ Rexy be forced out of Q2 for Aston Martin? We're going to find out in a few seconds' time. Can Titan do the unthinkable and make Q2 for Haas? He comes up towards the line. Is it an improvement by 2.5 tenths of a second? But he stays 16th, which means it's all down to Wapping to whether he makes it into Q2. Final corner up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 32.1. He goes into 7th, and he makes Q2.
So despite the late drama there for Wapping, he does manage to pull it out of the bag and get himself through, despite making a similar mistake to Bottas earlier on, in that he decided to, weirdly enough, go with the inters at the start of the session. But Oscar...
People do that though, people do that in this league. It's a strategy thing. But we will run you through our Q1. Oscar on top by nearly 0.5 of a second from Sweaty in second for McLaren. Hecker on third for Mercedes, with Bottas, Smolchek, Excuzu, Wapping, Westrizi, Sam Rose and Rai Zappa rounding out the top 10. Theo, Chris Rahman, Marcus, Mr. Business and Exfirto made it through. TJ Rexy and Titan eliminated on the virtue of them being the two slowest drivers that recorded a time. Racing Diabetes is 18th. Magnus Sheep will start from the back of the grid in 19th after serving his qualifying ban. We're all but ready for Q2 here at the Circuit of the Americas, and that should be getting underway in a few seconds' time. Liam, a great Q1 for Oscar. He knows that he needs to have an absolutely mega weekend. He started really well.
He has indeed. The question is can he back it up when it counts most, or will he bottle under pressure like Arsenal in every single title race that they have been in since 2005? But anyway,
14 minutes and 50 seconds. Of course, a 15-minute session, 14 minutes 45 to go. We have movement at the end of the pit lane. I believe it's from the Alpine garages. It is, which means that, of course, it's going to be Oscar coming onto the track first. Racing Diabetes is once again disconnected from the session. That's the second time this evening. And how ironic is it that Oscar is followed by the championship leader and his championship rival, Valtteri Bottas, out onto the track for Q2. 10 drivers will make it into Q3. Everyone down from 11th to 15th will be eliminated, but I'm sure you know that. That's how Formula 1 qualifying has worked from 2006 bar a small excursion.
2015.
We don't talk about that.
2015 PTSD. I mean,
and even then the system was still the same. It was just the way it was formulated.
Yeah.
Was utterly abysmal.
Yeah. I do agree, and I think
the end of the Bernie era.
This gives us a good time to talk about qualifying format and how good it is, because I think that Formula One, for a long time they rotated between different systems and different ways of doing it, and it seems now that we've finally settled on something that's worked. I mean, next year is going to be the 20th year, so this is the 20th season where we've had this qualifying format. And that's incredible because, I mean...
I don't think we can really say that we settled on it, considering the fact that we've had it since 2006. I'd say Formula 1 relatively settled on it back in 2010, of course, with the point system change, which we've had for a while, which we are ditching in TRL for next season, and I'm just going to wrap this up with a nice little bow on top. The year before we got this qualifying system, we had aggregate qualifying for the first half of the year. Be grateful we don't have that now. So here comes Bottas, championship leader, to get us going in Q2. 6th gear, 7th gear, rising into 8th, using a lot of his battery, 30% of it, as he heads up the hill towards turn number 1, dropping it from 300 kilometers an hour all the way down to 3rd gear, around 90 kilometers an hour. Small slide off the rear as he comes out of the first corner, but nothing too detrimental to his lap. He has got a McLaren that gets graciously out of the way as Bottas flicks it from left to right, then left to right again. First sector splits at 24.966. He is trying desperately to keep that car in one shape. He slides again as he heads up the hill and then down towards turn number 11. The slides are expected with some people's setups, of course, running, for the straights. But it's good car control from Bottas, of course. He is renowned for that. Realistically, Bottas is one of the smartest drivers in this league. He's been here since the very start. He knows what he's doing, and he has been desperately trying to clinch a championship for so many years now. And of course, the closest he really got was 2 years ago, during the very first TRL season, when the league was named Tireless Racing League. Good times. Middle sector split was pretty good considering the fact that he didn't have the best Q1 until the last couple of minutes as he heads for the triple right-hander now, 6th gear, 230 kilometers an hour. He'll flick it left 2 more times as he heads up towards the line. It's been a decent enough lap from the championship leader in that kick Sauber. Up towards the timing line. What is it going to be? Another big slide coming out of the final corner. 1 minute 32.073. We will ride with Oscar though as he comes through, as he's invalidated his lap, so Oscar will have to go again. we have got the Ferrari of Ryu Zappu coming up towards the line. Xfirto 1 minute 33.205. But here comes Ryu Zappu. He's only around 2.5 tenths off, and he's on the medium compound tire. A smart check goes to the top of the timesheet, 1 minute 31.711.
Into first. And I know most people here probably do not care about women's football, but at Leigh Sports Village, Manchester United have gone 1-0 up against Sunderland. Leah Galton with the goal for the Red Devils. Hopefully we can retain our cup title from last year and even better qualify for the UEFA Champions League. In case you can't tell already, I am a suffering Manchester United football fan. Well, only when it comes to the
women's and the men's teams.
Women's not as much, but we still have to deal with
you still have
Mark Skinner.
I would like to say a terrorist manager, but we'll ignore that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Let's see, how long in the session do we have? We've got 10 minutes and 21 seconds left. Hecron coming up towards the line. Big slide out of the final corner. 1 minute 32.703. Sam Rose is also wasn't a flying run. He invalidated his lap time. The Ferraris have both set their runs. We're right on board with Sweaty, who was second in Q1, got a huge tow off teammate Smotchek, who of course went quickest there. What is his middle sector time going to be? It's a 1 minute dead, 8.56. And the McLarens have looked incredibly strong in qualifying so far this evening. Of course, Sweaty reserving for Dean, as he did last week in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. McLaren starting to build a sort of a dynasty now with Sen Mendes as team principal. Of course, they had all that controversy a couple of seasons ago when Fried Bacon left the league. There was a bit of a power vacuum. Nobody knew what was going to happen. But Sen Mendes has restored the team now to, I suppose, former glory. And Sweaty goes a second.
Wow,
nearly a second
that
and a
is
half
incredible.
Clear, but still many drivers still to set lap times. 1 minute 30.451. To go top of the timesheets, 9 minutes 15 seconds left in Q2.
I mean, it's
also coming across the line was Wapping, who set a 1 minute 32.2, and then the Aston Martin of Mr. Business has pit. Sam Rose on a flying run, as well as Excuzu. Excuzu invalidated his.
Whoa! He's into the wall.
Sam Rose hits the wall,
and
I'm not sure how he's done that.
Yeah, I think
his
he lost,
Q2
he lost
is ruined.
the car, and he is gonna have to get back to the pits and hope that the team can make the fixes needed for him to be able to carry on in the session, and that's going to also hijack the laps of the other people around him due to the yellow flags. But hopefully he can continue on. I mean, he might as well, he might as well start with a clean slate here. But Sweaty 1.2 seconds up. I mean, it's no Gilles Villeneuve in the wet in 1979 in America, but it's still very, very impressive nonetheless. And as you say, look, McLaren looking very, very quick here, and they'll be looking to take victory just like in real life in 2012 with Lewis Hamilton.
Sam Rose, of course, it's been going from bad to worse. He only had one race win in league racing in 2 years. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that. For 2 years, he went winless until the Monaco Grand Prix last year in Season 3, I believe it was.
Season 4.
His woes go from bad to worse. Hopefully Sam Rose can get through this pretty bad patch once again. He's going to have to go and hope that Mercedes can fix that front wing with 7.5 minutes left in the session. Excuzu is actually right behind him, but Sam Rose isn't going to affect his lap time whatsoever. Excuzu's not in a quick one whatsoever, and he pits as well. Oscar has invalidated 2 lap times in a row. Maybe the pressure's getting to him. Hopefully for his sake it isn't. But not the best start to Q2.
This is going to be a reference for some people who have watched YouTuber Championship or, know of the meme, but can Oscar win or will he bottle it?
I would say he's bottling it at this point though, but the pressure, I feel like TRL actually gives people a lot of pressure to perform. I can name at least 5 occasions in the past where the pressure has got to someone. I'm not going to, but I'm gonna name one, and obviously it happened to Magnus Sheep back in the final race of Season 2 in Tyler's Racing League. Now that necessarily wasn't the pressure getting to him. That was, of course, the F1 being absolutely abysmal. Sweaty's retired. He
very
thinks he's
confident
made it
there.
Q3, and in all reality, he has.
Will be through.
Oscar starts his next run. Take us through it, Liam.
Hang on, let me just get on board with Oscar. And there we go. It took a little while to get onto the onboard, but we are now there. So coming out of the first couple of corners, now heading in towards the S section, turn 3, 4, 5, and 6 in rapid, quick succession. Make sure... Oh, and he's nearly lost it there. Controlling the car through this S's section. And, you know, got to make sure that you correct the oversteer that you get, because I've noticed, as somebody who didn't play F1 23, that the difference between F1 22 and F1 24 is big, so I can imagine it's similar to F1 23 in terms of the jump up required, and that may be why so many drivers have been struggling this year, as you say, Luke. I mean, it's very, very incredible that some drivers can just port over onto different games and just still perform at the level required, or the level expected of them, heading in towards the end of the second sector. Turn 12, then 13. Got to make sure that you don't run too wide here, and he's nearly spun it there, potentially not using all the track there. Didn't exactly get right out wide. That time he did, though, coming out of turn number 16 and into 17 and 18. The very fast right-handers, and then into the left. Got to make sure, once again, you don't run too wide, and then heading in towards the final turn of the circuit. It's a beautiful corner because, first of all, it's a slightly uphill bit as Oscar goes second with a very, very quick time. I think that Oscar should be safe in getting into Q3, but to finish my point, it's a very, very good corner because it's very blind. You don't really see it right until you get towards it, in regards to going through the fast left-hander and then having to be able to be prepared to slow down really quickly for the uphill bit, the left-hander. But that was Oscar's time, getting him up to second, just 8/10 down on Sweaty. I say just 8/10, but Sweaty is in a league of his own right now, which is, I mean, it's incredible that, you know, he's a reserve driver considering the pace that he's showing.
It has been a proven fact in TRL that the reserve drivers sometimes are absolutely incredibly quick. I wouldn't be surprised if Sweaty was snatched away by someone for season 5.5 or for season 6 on F1 25. You spoke about, obviously, drivers migrating from different games and still being fantastic. I suppose the best evidence of that was Ryu Zappu from F1 22 to 23. Of course, he won the season 2 title in Tireless Racing League on F1 22, migrated to F1 23, was on it most of the time. Obviously, the league rebranded, we took a couple of months off, we came back and he won the season 2 title back last year on F1 23. But the migration from 23 to 24 wasn't as good. But that's been the case for a lot of drivers as well. But the cream have rose to the top, and Bottas is a great example of that. He's 5th at the moment, 3.5 minutes left in Q2. Most of the spots you'd like to think are decided. Mr. Business is starting a new run. Sam Rose is in the pits, as well as Excusio. Xfirto and Hekaron, I should say, are on the bubble, as Hekaron goes third on the bubble, no longer. 1 minute 31.199.
Delivering.
I don't know if you have already, Liam, but check your message.
I will go and do so right now. Okay, right, I will go and make sure to do that. And yeah, I think we're hopefully a little bit better off now with the things mentioned.
Turn that down.
And I think everything should be good now.
I hope it is, because I listened to it for a couple of seconds. It was quite loud. Hopefully that should be sorted anyway, so we're sort of equal microphone volume quality. 2 minutes 40 seconds to go in Q number 2. Bottas moved up to second after another run that I haven't actually picked up on. He seems to be going really under the radar in this session. Oscar has retired, as well as Smotchek and Sweaty. Both McLarens and Bottas' championship rival both think they've done enough to make it into Q3. Hekaron in third. Westrizi and Marcus all in outlaps. They are, of course, on the bubble. Ryu Zappu in 11th, with Xfirto, his teammate, about to start a lap time. This is, of course, is huge, but considering the fact that Xfirto is over a second behind the cutoff time of 1 minute 32.203, and he's round wide at turn 1, I don't think he's going to make it. Mr. Business sets a 1 minute 31.898. I said that he wasn't a lap. He goes 7th, which pushes Wapping out of Q3 as it stands. The cutoff time now 1 minute 32.087. Wapping invalidated his lap a couple of seconds ago. Sam Rose and Excusu both on outlaps. We're going to focus on Sam Rose though, and we're going to focus on Ryu Zappu. But first, Sam Rose negotiates turn number 19, taking it nice and slow. Of course, he did lose his front wing in quite an odd crash a couple of minutes ago, around 6.5 minutes ago. But can Sam Rose make Q3 and give Mercedes a little bit of hope that this weekend won't be pointless? Hecaron, of course, his teammate is in third. I actually have just saw that as Bottas retired from the session now. He's well through to Q3. He doesn't have to worry about one final run. But Sam Rose does as he heads left, then right, then left, then right again. As he heads up towards that first sector split, it is going to be a 25.292. Theo retires from the session as most of the top 10 rest on their laurels as the last 50 seconds of this session will begin to count down. Heading down towards turn number 11 is the former Tireless Racing League champion Sam Rose. 40 seconds have elapsed off his time so far. It hasn't been the worst lap in the world. He has got the Williams of Chris Rahman behind him on an outlap, who in turn has the Racing Bulls of Wes Streezy behind him. Wes Streezy is 12 thousandths of a second down in the first sector. But here comes Sam Rose. We mentioned, of course, that he had his crash. He didn't set a lap time. This is a benchmark run for him. It's a huge run for him. 1 minute 9.55 in the middle sector. Flicks it left just about. Hits the apex nicely for turn number 15. Then to the triple right. He's run out of fuel.
And that's
He's run out
drama,
of fuel, and as well as lap time is invalidated.
And Sam Rose is out.
And Sam Rose is out of the session. Right. Immediately we focus on Chris Rahman. Chris Rahman has not made it through because it says to check. Chris Rahman has not made it to the line. Yep, Chris Rahman has not made it. Wapping is in 12th, 1 minute 32.203. Marcus is on the bubble and is improving. Wes Streezy stays in 9th. Ryu Zapu 1 minute 1/10 up in the first sector as well. Who's coming up first towards the line out of that group in danger? I believe it is Marcus. It's Wapping. So the two rebels are going to follow each other towards the line. Wapping at a 1 minute 32.203, and he's over half a second up in the middle sector. Flicks it left for the penultimate time. Flicks it left one more time. Is it going to be enough to get him into Q3? Will there be two Red Bulls or one in Q number 3? Wapping goes into 6th. Marcus doesn't make Q3. Now it's over to the two Ferraris. Ryu Zapu 4.5 tenths up in the middle sector. He said that he just wanted to keep it clean this weekend, but a spot in Q3 would help that cause quite a bit. Up towards the line, 1 minute 31.638. His teammate doesn't make it, but the Q3 lineup is set. But the big shock of the session is Sam Rose spinning and losing his front wing, followed by him invalidating his final run. He will start 15th, going out in Q2 as Streezy, Marcus, Chris Rahman, and Exfirto. We are in for an incredible Q3. Excuzu will be the last one to the line, but Sweaty once again proving why the McLarens have been quick this weekend.
Indeed, as Excuzu comes across the line and well down on the time. I'm just gonna get the grid nice and lined up for myself on this little notepad I'm using, and we are going to get ready to start Q3 in a moment as Luke is
Q2 order then, Sweaty first from Bottas in second. It was a dramatic session with Hecaron in third for Mercedes, but crucially the gap between Bottas and Hecaron 4 tenths of a second or in and around it. Oscar 4th, he needs a big Q3 after a poor session here. Theo 5th, Ryu 6th, the rest of the top 10, Wapping, Smotcheck, Excuzu, Mr. Business, Westreezy, Marcus, Chris Rahman, Exfirto, and Sam Rose going out in Q2. Q3 coming up next.
Indeed, as we get prepared for Q3, this is crunch time, folks. This is where the drivers, well, I say make their buck. It is time for Q3 at the Circuit of the Americas, and as Luke said, eliminated in Q2 was, I'm trying to read my handwriting, I can't. Right, anyways.
Well, that's good. That's good, because I actually do need to mention something. The fact of the matter is that this is such an important session. Normally Q3 has been very exciting in recent TRL history. Movement down at the end of the pit lane. Once again, it is going to be an Alpine of Oscar, because he's the only Alpine on the track, making his way out to start Q3. I mentioned at the end of Q2, he needs a mammoth session. He needs a gargantuan one. Realistically, he needs to be on the front row, but that's easier said than done. When you have Sweaty, when you have Smotcheck, when you have Bottas all breathing down your neck. Simple one-line prediction on where he gets, Liam.
Oh... Well, I mean, technically that's a few words. Damn it, that's a few more. Damn it,
it's still one. It's still one line. It's still one line.
Okay, right. My one-line prediction. I don't think he'll be on pole, but I think he'll be solidly in the top 5 if he can put his lap together. I think that the McLarens are just a little bit too quick for him today.
Just mention the driver next. Who gets pole?
I'm gonna have to go with Sweaty. He's been fantastic so far today.
Well, we're going to find out what happens. Of course, the do or die session. We were at a point yesterday when only 11 drivers were ready to race. We're going to start the Grand Prix hopefully with 19 as we head towards the conclusion of Season 5 of Turbo Racing. 10.5 minutes to go. It's all come down to this and potentially the biggest qualifying session of the season for the two men at the front of the championship, Bottas and Oscar. Bottas only has to outscore his championship rival by 6 points to win the title tonight. The gap 152 to 98. With, of course, for one sprint and 3 races left. We head to Vegas next weekend, then it's Brazil on the final day of the season. Almost ready to go here, though, for Q3 as Oscar gets us going, heading up the hill towards turn 1, rising from 6th to 7th, and then one last push into 8th gear. Does he make it? No, he doesn't. That's surprising. As he drops down to 3rd gear, 90 kilometers an hour. He has got a McLaren in front of him. That is Sweaty, who gets out of his way, no problem at all. As he heads into the S section, of course, this is where he invalidated his run the first time around in Q2. As he heads up towards the first sector split, keeping the car nice and controlled, 24.799. It's a big first sector to pull out of your hat. It's a big first sector to have. Huge slide, though, heading out of the S section. But he manages to keep the car relatively in one piece. Heads down towards turn number 11, drops it down to 3rd gear, 85 kilometers an hour, as he gets a good exit coming down the long straight, activates the DRS. He's only got 25% of his battery left, which he will be able to harvest.
Very risky strategy.
And use in the final couple of corners down to turn 12. He, of course, uses a lot of road, and that's probably where he invalidated his second run, as he sets a 1 minute 1.029. Hasn't been the worst lap in the world for our second championship contender, as he heads through the triple right-hander of corners right about now. 5th gear, 6th gear. Won't make it into 7th. He's only got 10% battery left. He'll flick it left 2 more times through turn 19 and then up the hill towards turn 20. He's invalidated his lap again, and Oscar's qualifying goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, you can just see slightly going over the limit there, heading out of turn 19, and I've said it several times already in the session, you cannot go over that line, otherwise, well, what happened to Oscar will happen to you. And
Back on towards the line next. It's going to be a 1 minute 31.768 to set the early benchmark in Q3, but Smotchek immediately goes 6/10 clear. Ryu Zappu is starting a flying run. Sweaty also, but we are going to ride on board with Valtteri Bottas, the championship leader, who of course has got a huge advantage to win the title tonight. He's got a huge advantage to out-qualify his championship rival Oscar tonight. Oscar has not got it together realistically in the last couple of minutes. He's had 3 consecutive invalid laps. He needs a good one to get anywhere near his title rival. Actually, forget that, because considering the fact Sweaty has been further out in front this evening, and he actually is further out in front of the track at the moment, we're going to ride on board with him. Sweaty F8 in the McLaren, reserving for the Season 1 champion Dean Con 91, who of course nearly won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix 2 weeks ago. Sweaty will of course have the benefit once again of his teammate's tow as he heads down the back straight. Smotchek's at a 1 minute 31.172. Sweaty has been setting some unbelievable lap times so far. His teammate pulls out of the slipstream, and Sweaty is going to head down to turn 12 with a Mercedes and a Ferrari in front of him. It's a 1 minute dead, 8.48. He once again continues to be the benchmark for every driver to try to beat in this qualifying session. Heckeron gets out of his way. He's got Ryu Zappu in front of him, but he's not going to be disturbed by any dirty air from the Ferrari man. We're going to ride on board with Ryu Zappu as he finishes his lap. He's going to flick it left 2 more times as he comes up towards the timing line, and he pits. So I'm not sure what's happened to Ryu Zappu, but we'll go back to Sweaty. I'll try and find out what's happened there. Sweaty inevitably going to go quickest, 1 minute 30.394. Beat that if you will.
Very, very quick time, and we're going to quickly go and head on board with Bottas as he comes across the line, and P3 for him, but 1.1 seconds down on Sweaty. Sweaty has just been in his own league tonight, and whoa! Bottas deciding to go for a little spin. Don't know if he's warming up his tires or not, I don't know, but certainly doing something. Maybe he's a bit annoyed with himself, but who knows. But everybody else coming down pit row. The only drivers out on track at the moment are Sweaty, Bottas and Wapping. Everybody else pitted, so perhaps waiting right until the very end, or all of them had their times deleted. Maybe a little bit of a mix in there. But
if they're all waiting until the end of that, we don't often see that in TRL. You see normally the Q3 go out straight away.
so
But
most
potentially it is a ploy to get the best of this track. Mr. Business, Ryu Zappu, Theo Excusu, and Oscar all in the pit lane at the moment. We obviously saw Oscar had his invalidated lap. Ryu Zappu pit. As for Mr. Business, Theo and Excusu, I don't think we've seen them out on track at all. But your Q3 order with 5 minutes to go in the session, it's Sweaty followed by Smotchek with Bottas in third, and he's doing donuts down at turn 12. I'm not sure what on earth he's trying to do, as Wapping is in 5th and Hekaron is in 4th. Still a little bit of time left in this session for anything still to happen. We've got movement down at the McLaren pit lane as Sweaty comes into the boxes. 4 minutes 45 to go. Anything could still happen, and in TRL it usually does.
To paraphrase the great Murray Walker. But a little bit of facts about the Circuit of the Americas. So this track is 3.4 miles long. That's 5.5 kilometers or kilometers, or what the F is a kilometer if you're from around these parts of the world. The lap record, as I said, Charles Leclerc 136.1 in 2019. 28 laps will be held today. It's a 20-turn circuit, and it is anti-clockwise. One of the minority tracks on the calendar to be anti-clockwise. The other most notable one, of course, being Brazil. I believe this track also holds the record for most amount of fans attended in one weekend. I think it was 450,000 was the record, although the track itself only holds about 120,000 in general, so I don't know how they're working out the maths on that one. But Mr. Business currently on his out lap, and I'll hand that over to Luke.
We're going to find out what he does, because normally Mr. Business is a hit or miss record in qualifying. Aston Martin haven't had the best season, but at least getting one car into Q3 is an accomplishment for them. They haven't really been on it ever since Hekaron left them for Mercedes a couple of seasons ago. But we're going to find out what Mr. Business does. A Smotchek will be the first out of the 5 men that have already set a lap time to go out for one final run in Q3. Quick update from Murrayfield and the Guinness Men's Six Nations. Scotland have just scored a try to make it 33-8 against Wales.
Yep,
England still to play Italy tomorrow.
That sounds about right for the Welsh. More so
because they're absolutely awful at rugby now.
Indeed.
For some reason.
Their power in football has clearly been transferred to rugby. Unfortunately,
I mean,
the
they're
same
both
can't
terrible.
be said.
They're terrible in both.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The transfer of the power, and unfortunately, Scotland's rugby team can't transfer their power to the football team, because otherwise, we might have gotten out of the groups in the Euros. But anyway, back to Mr. Business's lap. Look,
I'm trying to think of the last time that Aston Martin have made a relevant contribution to qualifying in TRL, and I can't actually think of something. Maybe if there are more classic highlights made, which graciously Thomas has been doing for quite a while. We thank him for that. And we also thank the 14 people who are currently listening to us in the commentary voice chat in the TRL server, and those YouTube channel at the moment. Hopefully we won't be permanently there. Hopefully we'll have our regular streamers and commentators back next weekend, but I'd love to have you back.
thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. It seems that I'm always filling
Well,
in
we'll
at
save that. I'm
quota.
going to immediately interrupt you because we're going to go right to Smotchek. I should have saved the compliment for something a little bit more low-key if we were at a boring point in the race. That's my mistake. Smotchek will be the first out of the 5 men who set a lap originally to go for one final run in Q number 3. He's 8 tenths off his teammate Sweaty so far, and currently he's about a 10th up, 99 thousandths to be precise, up in that first sector. Mr. Business is on his in-lap as Wapping is ready to start his final run. Sweaty, Bottas and Hekaron all out on outlaps as Oscar is ready to go as well. We're not going to ride on board with Oscar, but Smotchek is going to get a magnificent tow from Sweaty here. It's a huge, huge tow. The McLarens have been fantastic with their teamwork tonight. When is Sweaty going to pull away and let Smocek continue? He does now.
Ooh.
So Smocek has got a fantastic aid from his teammate. Maybe he'll return the favour in the next lap. Middle sector split. He's a 10.5 up. So the toe apparently either did very little or Smocek might have made a mistake when we weren't on board with him. As he comes up towards turns number 16, 17 and 18. He's still got half his battery to use as he heads through the final couple of corners. 6th gear, 260 kilometers an hour. Flicks it left for the penultimate time in 6th gear, then up the hill towards turn number 20 for one last time in this session. 30 seconds to go. Is it going to be enough to solidify his spot on the front row? It's a 1 minute 31 and Bottas has a 5-place grid penalty.
Illegal
Goodness
blocking.
gracious me. We go straight to Oscar. Oscar has invalidated another lap. So Oscar's going to have to go again with 10 seconds or so left in the session. And his championship hopes are dwindling away from him. But crucially, some point of hope, Bottas has a time penalty. Or a grid penalty, my mistake.
And Oscar's whole lap has been hijacked. He had to try and find the right balance between saving the battery and making sure he got across the lane in time. And because he invalidated his last lap, he's only got a, around about 50% battery. So if I'm Oscar in the situation, I'm not going to take too many risks because nobody else on the track, apart from the top 5, have really set competitive times. And it's very easy to invalidate your lap around here. But Oscar's clearly not listening to my advice because he's going full beans coming into the end
Why would he though? Why would he though? But we're not going to ride aboard of Oscar. Sweaty once again gets a magnificent toe from his teammate. McLaren's teamwork is up there with some of the best examples we've ever seen in TRL, and he is 1.5 tenths or so around in the middle sector. Of course, he has a he's got a huge gap at the top of the timesheets as Theo goes 5th for Racing Bulls. He's at the front of the 3rd row, but not for long because Hecron goes into 3rd position. We remain on board with Sweaty as he comes into the penultimate corner. He's reserving for the 2nd time in 2 weeks, and he is about to get a TRL pole position. Is he going to improve? Small slide out of the final corner. 1 minute 30.117 to secure pole position. Next up to the line, though, is Bottas. He has a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking, which we didn't see. What is it going to be? 1 minute 30.2, and he's inches away from getting pole position. Oscar's invalidated a 3rd run, and Oscar starts 10th.
And that is disastrous for Oscar. Maybe if he'd listened to my advice, maybe he could have gotten a little bit better. But to be fair, 8 drivers only within 1.5 seconds of each other, Wapping and Oscar the only exclusions there. And a good time from Bottas. He'll be a little bit thankful that Oscar is only in 10th, because had Oscar been able to pull off a good enough time, well, maybe Oscar would have had a chance against Bottas. I mean, Bottas with the 5-place grid penalty, starting down in 7th. And, I mean, that's close to the midfield, so anything could happen to him.
And while we weren't even watching, Ryu Zappu said he wanted a clean weekend. He somehow snuck it to the front of the 3rd row, of the 2nd row, sorry. 3,000ths of a second in front of Smocek. That's your qualifying, folks, and what a qualifying session it was.
I'm actually going to correct you there slightly, Luke, because I actually was on board with him when he was crossing the line, because I was very quickly changing from, I think it was Bottas to Ryu Zappu. So it's all about how quickly you can switch things over. Currently, I'm just writing down what the order is, as I'll let Luke.
Well, here's your order then for qualifying in Q3. Sweaty gets pole position for McLaren by 1/10 of a second. However, Bottas will have a 5-place grid penalty. It will be Ryu Zappu who's on the front row for the US Grand Prix. The rest of the order without the grid penalty: Smocek in 4th position, Hecker on 5th, Mr. Business 6th, Theo 7th, Excusu 8th, with Wapping in 9th. Oscar couldn't even set a lap time due to invalidations. The US Grand Prix, which could decide the World Championship, is live and uninterrupted. And of course, it is next.
Indeed. I just realised while writing down my order that Bottas has the grid penalty, so I'll have to change that a little bit. But
well, good evening to you from an overcast circuit of the Americas. Tonight could be the night that the championship is decided. But if the grid places were how the race finished, the title would somehow go to Las Vegas. Valtteri Bottas only needs to outscore Oscar tonight by 6 points to win the World Championship for the first ever time in TRL. And it is his best chance ever since he lost out to Sam Rose 2 years ago in the opening season of Tireless Racing League. A very good evening to you from the Circuit of the Americas. I'm Mr. Stone, joined in the commentary box by Liam Talks Motorsport tonight. We are all but ready to go for what should be an incredible US Grand Prix. And given recent TRL history, we should be on for an absolute banger. 19 drivers to contest the start. Let's take a look at what compound the grid are starting on. And we don't have to talk about much because they're all in the mediums.
Guys, come on, where's the variation? Where is the variation? Nobody's starting on the softs, nobody's starting on the hards. Come on, guys, this is boring.
And of course, in TRL, you can drive wherever you want on the formation lap. You are not adhering to any rules as long as you do not crash into anyone, as Bottas flies straight past Sweaty and cuts the corner. Lovely.
That's certainly something, isn't it? Look, that is certainly something. But I'm just going to go quickly.
All our drivers normally are quite respectful in the formation lap and how they drive. And already, I think that might be Sam Rose. Yes, Sam Rose going very, very slow. He's almost gone to a stop as they head into the S section. So Sam Rose is a quarter of a lap, I would say, behind championship leader Valtteri Bottas, who's in a league of his own. Let's talk about Magdashep, who starts last on the grid tonight. Of course, Magdashep was serving a qualifying ban from last week's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix when he received that penalty. He, of course, is the reigning and defending two-time TRL champion. Won't be defending his title this season, though, after a pretty lackluster title defense. But given Magdashep's recent history, I think he'll be well happy with 2 titles coming into F1 25. The key thing is, as we have mentioned, is migration from F1 23 to 24. I genuinely wonder how the grid's going to shape up in a couple of months' time when we go racing for the first time on F1 25. Quick notice, a quick public service announcement. We are live next weekend for potentially the title decider if it's not done this weekend for the Las Vegas Grand Prix from Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, as we continue our US tour with the final race of the season in Brazil. I will be there at least. Not sure whether Liam will be. Maybe we'll ask him back. Maybe we won't. Hopefully, for his sake, though, we get a great race tonight if it is his only TRL race. As Bottas lines up in 7th, and he gives himself a good half a minute for his tyres to cool down. Possible race strategies, because everyone's on the mediums. If you're doing a one-stop, you'll pit lap 12 to 17, as long as there are no safety cars. But given TRL, there probably will be one.
Well, everybody else now catching up to Bottas on the grid. Of course, originally qualifying second, got the 5 place grid penalty for blocking Mr. Business, even though Mr. Business wasn't actually on a lap, which was quite funny.
This game is very stupid. Just ignore everything. Magdashep has gone too far in front of his grid spot, so he will be disqualified.
Oh,
but it will be Sam Rose. But it will be Sam Rose who will go into 15th spot and be the last driver of our 19. Form the grid. We are all but ready to go for what could be a crucial race in the championship fight from the Circuit of the Americas. We go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights with Sweaty on pole. The US Grand Prix is underway. It's a good launch from Sweaty, despite the fact he was held back a few meters. It's a decent enough launch from Ryu Zappu as they all head up towards turn 1. Sweaty just about holds on to first position with Zappu in second. Spotcheck and Hecron go wheel to wheel as they head down the hill towards turn 2. Mr. Business going all out of sorts as they head down through the second corner. As Theo goes in front of him, nobody's spun out so far, but TJ Rexy, as I say, that has.
Whoa.
The Aston Martin man is down to 19th position, but Sweaty leads the US Grand Prix from the front with Season 2 champion Ryu Zappu in second. Smotchek and Bottas from 7th up to 3rd immediately, and we have Smotchek falling through the field, as well as Oscar!
Oscar has had an incident. We'll have to get a little check at what's happened to him, and he's right at the back. And
his front wing an end plate of his front wing has also come off as well. So if it finishes like this, Bottas will be the World Drivers' Champion. He only needs to outscore Oscar by 6 points tonight. 28 laps, around 45 minutes, to see whether Oscar can somehow find his way back into the championship fight on this first lap of 28. Ryu Zappu is right on the back of Sweaty.
Yeah, Ryu Zappu keeping up well. It's so hard to keep track of everything going on in the field. Huckeron and Wapping having a little battle for 5th as well. We've got so much going on, and because of how quickly the times are changing, it's tricky to keep an eye on the intervals. But heading towards the end of the first lap, Sweaty leads from Ryu Zappu, Bottas Business, Wapping, Huckeron, Theo, West Risey, and and Racing Diabetes, who started in 18th, has had a brilliant start.
That's right.
And
of course, ironically enough, I was recording a little bit of an intro piece for the Season 3 Portuguese Grand Prix before we went live earlier on. Racing Diabetes won that race. It's his only TRL race win to date. Could he shock the world and do it again from 10th? I don't know. But anything
well, from 18th on the grid, he's 10th.
A lot
at
of
the end
crazy
the
things
opening
happen in
lap.
TRL. That's all I've got to tell you. Sam Rose is racing Smotchek and McSphirto, as well as Chris Rahman and Magnaship. It's a huge little ding-dong battle there for P12, as Xfirto leads that train. But back to the front of the grid, we will ride on board with Ryu Zappu, who's only half a second behind Sweaty, and of course we'll have the ability to use DRS to try and get past and try and take the lead of this race. He told me on Gridwalk he wanted to settle into this race. He didn't want to get involved in any incidents. He's got a great chance to take the lead now, and he is going to fly past Sweaty coming down to turn 12, and the Mexican Maestro leads the US Grand Prix.
And unlike the last Mexican to drive for the Ferrari team, aka Pedro Rodriguez, he is in fact doing well against the McLaren at the US Grand Prix, because unfortunately Pedro Rodriguez never won the US Grand Prix. He did win the South African Grand Prix and the Belgian, but neither of them for Ferrari. That was for Cooper and for BRM. A little history lesson for you guys. But Racing Diabetes and Marcus are having a little scrap down in 10th. Already Racing Diabetes has lost track with the front group, and it seems we've got 3 or 4 different battles emerging in the field. We got the battle for the lead between the top 4, roughly. And as I say that, Wapping's clearly made a mistake, because Mr. Business is now right behind him. As before that, Wapping and Bottas were pretty close to the front 2, but now Wapping's dropped back a little bit, and Mr. Business is threatening him. Now, is it going to be a case of hang on and wait till the straight, or is it going to make a risky move here? Because, I mean, you got to remember, the more time you lose through this section, you lose the momentum.
Marcus
Huckron's
picks
not
up
far
a
behind
3-second time penalty, the first of the race for multiple warnings. That normally is going to be a trend around this track. We'll see if Sweaty can regain the race lead from Ryu Zappa as they head down towards turn number 12 again. Sweaty a little bit closer than what Ryu was to him in the last lap, using a little bit of his battery. Both drivers around the same level. Yellow flag coming down towards turn 11. I'm not sure what that was for, but Sweaty regains the lead of the US Grand Prix with a nice and easy overtake on Ryu Zappu. Mr. Business also gets past Wapping coming down the straight as Hecaron dives up the inside trying to make a move now. Can't make it. And Mr. Business has a slide and loses a lot of ground.
And he's dropped down from 4th down to 8th. He's battling with West Risey, and can he get ahead in towards turn 16, turn 15, 16? No, he can't. This is a brilliant battle for 4th here, and I love how just Bottas is just in the middle of nowhere, just chilling in 3rd, watching the battle ahead with his popcorn and looking in his mirrors, watching Wapping hold on for dear life against Huckron. And before that, Mr. Business had his little error. But the front 2 in a league of their own right now. Ryu Zappu
tries to make a move as Marcus picks up another 3-second time penalty. Of course, Bottas doesn't have to worry about anything as long as Oscar is in 19th. Marcus will piss, of course, reserving tonight.
And he's out. He's retired.
Thomas, and he's retired as well. So the Red Bull is the first DNF of this Grand Prix. But as I was mentioning, Bottas doesn't have anything tonight. As long as Oscar is out of the points, and as long as he's outscoring him by 6 points, if he is within the top 10, Bottas will be the TRL champion for the first ever time. Magnaship goes past Smotchek as Excuse, who picks up a time penalty for multiple track limits warnings. We're going to ride on board with Hecaron as he's got a great chance to try and get past Wapping coming down the back straight, as the Red Bull driver runs slightly wide coming down through turn 11. Using a bit of his battery, has the ability to use DRS, going up to around 300 kilometers an hour. Going to fly past, of course he does. One of the easiest moves you'll have to make. Theo's going to have a little bit of a harder job. It goes down the inside as Wapping out breaks even himself, but somehow manages to hold on.
And Theo has done a very good job. I mean, in Q1, we were wondering if he'd get through because he was struggling a little bit. He was 11th in Q1.
Bit of contact there between Wapping and Hecaron. I think I just saw a little bit of a visual bodywork fly off Wapping's front wing. But while we were talking about that battle for 4th position, Ryu Zappa has retaken the lead of the US Grand Prix, as both Ryu and Sweaty trade positions, presumably on the one long straight, down towards turn 12 on every single lap, as Bottas are in a second and a half behind them. Your race order on lap 5 of 28, Ryu Zappa leads from Sweaty in second, Bottas third, Hecaron Wapping, Theo Estrezi, Excuse Mr. Business, and Sam Rose rounding out the top 10.
Theo looking for a move there.
Theo Wapping and Hecaron all within a...
Whoa.
Hecaron has to try and get away though.
Yeah, Wapping has been struggling, so I think that now that Hecaron's ahead, I think he is going to pull away a little bit. But, I mean, the damage has already been done. They've dropped back from Bottas, who in turn, I mean, with the battling going on between Sweaty and Zapu, I mean, if they were battling at it like animals, then maybe Bottas could close in. But they're being very, very clever here. They're using each other to make sure that they don't lose too much time to Bottas. But Bottas...
But crucially enough, Bottas has had a good lap so far, but Sweaty will of course have a chance to retake the lead of the race, and he does, as has been the script so far. Ryu Zappu in third position with Bottas around a second and a half behind him in turn.
Here we
Check,
go.
Of course. Oh, Chris Rahman's got off the track. Yellow flag, Chris Rahman.
And Chris Rahman went off at the start of the straight, but to go towards the end of the straight and out of the second sector, we've got a brilliant battle going on here.
Theo sees a gap. Theo sees his gap, makes the move, but can't hold on with a small little slide. He's going to try to go for the switchback coming out of turn number 15. Can't make the move, but Wapping in front of Hecaron.
Yep, Wapping and Hecaron rotating positions again. You'd think that Hecaron would be able to pull away considering how much time Wapping lost at the beginning, but maybe, just maybe, all the battling hasn't helped. And look at the track extension there from Wapping and from Hecaron. Theo will be watching on thinking, are you guys going to Mars? Because he was...
Are they an IndyCar at the moment?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they in NASCAR? They must be. Racing Diabetes, something's happened to him. Racing Diabetes has fallen down, I think, at least 5 positions.
He had a good start, but
screen.
He had a good start, but I just don't think he had the pace to keep up with the train, because he was, keep in mind, he was at the very front of that train and was in 10th, and everyone behind him was pretty stuck behind him, just like the cases with Wapping, Hecaron, Theo, and West Risey, and Excuse You as well. So we've got quite a battle going on, and Chris Rahman's got a penalty for multiple track warnings. He's battling with Rexy, who had a spin at the start of the race, and then looking down to 17th, poor old
Racing
Oscar.
Diabetes, another penalty. Let's just talk about Oscar for a second, because he hopes he needs a miracle. He needs a safety car, of course, the fact that Ryu Zappu and Sweaty are just trading positions at the front of the field as Wapping and Hecaron are doing the exact same thing as well. They make contact coming through turn 12, which might allow Theo to try and get around the outside of the Red Bull driver, but Wapping's holding on for dear life as the two Racing Bulls try to gain a couple of positions. Wapping dives down the inside. It's not the cleanest move in the world, but Hecaron holds on.
Excuse You went for a move on West Risey there, and unfortunately couldn't make it stick. And this battle between the 5 of these guys is absolutely incredible to watch. Racing at its finest as we head into start lap 7 with Ryu Zappu leading Sweaty, and then Bottas.
Well, of course, the racing hasn't been the best in TRL as of late. We've had multiple controversies about FIA officiating. The drivers threatened to strike at the end of last week's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Wapping makes contact, and we have a yellow flag because Racing Diabetes has gone around, and we have a safety car.
And that is big news for the race. Racing Diabetes.
And it's big news for Oscar.
And it's big news for Oscar, yes, because Oscar now is back in the race potentially.
Racing Diabetes is out as well.
No, he's
so
not.
What happened to Racing Diabetes, as far as I'm aware, is that he
retired,
crashed on the way into the pit lane. I think he locked up or something, and he has retired.
Interesting
from
choice
the
to
race.
retire, because he was still in the race, but with a bit of damage, so that's a bit of a surprise. Or maybe it glitched because he was coming into the pits as he retired potentially, which can happen.
The Titan, who took the opportunity to ditch the commentary box earlier on to race in this Grand Prix, has had an absolute shocker. He has pit for the Hall compound tyre, over 20 seconds behind Oscar in 16th.
I don't wish to...
But Oscar has got his miracle. Well, it might not be a miracle, but he has got his little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Indeed.
With 7 laps into the US Grand Prix. We are going to talk to him right now. Oscar, can you speak with us? Oscar, what happened?
Currently trying to get...
Oscar, are you there?
Sorry. I don't know if...
Oscar, what happened on lap 1?
I personally don't know fully percent. Like, I tried to take it very cautionally, but yeah, I may have maybe added a bit too much throttle, I guess, and yeah, spun. I have nothing to explain about that, just normal spin.
Ryu Zappu pits at the front of the field. Come back to you in a second. Oscar is the top 3 pit, and Sweaty with an incredible move.
Whoa!
Sweaty channeling his inner
insane.
Sebastian Vettel in the 2016 Chinese Grand Prix, and Sweaty takes the lead of the race for now, but it's the battle of the pit crews. Theo gets a 10-second time penalty for a severe collision, and Sweaty comes out on top in the pit battle as well. So Sweaty catching Ryu Zappu napping. What an incredible bit of racecraft there from the McLaren driver to take the lead of the US Grand Prix.
And this
May I ask if it's illegal to send it that dangerously in safety car under safety car
We'll find
conditions?
out if Ryu does report him. Thanks for being a little bit of a snitch there, Oscar. But considering the fact that you are now in 15th, you are pitting, going onto the hard compound tire and changing your front
Oh,
wing,
what's happening here?
do you feel... Sweaty's been disqualified because he
my
overtook
God.
Ryu under the pits.
Nice.
And so's Ryu. Ryu's
But-
been disqualified as
but-
well.
What?
It's not nothing's come up on our timing screens. However,
It's about to.
Yeah,
now.
there.
Sweaty has now been
Sweaty has been disqualified.
and this is a
Ryu's
travesty.
about to be disqualified, I think.
No, it hasn't shown me that Ray has been disqualified, so I think he's safe. Because it is about overtaking the safety car where you get disqualified. Anything else you don't get disqualified.
And
Thank you very much,
Sweaty
Oscar.
will
We'll
be
talk to you in a couple of minutes.
very
It looks
angry.
like Ryu has somehow survived for now, but Sweaty's out of the race.
And that is what happens when you don't pay attention. But I suppose this is also the game being the game, I guess. And
It's definitely because it has happened before. I think I was going to talk about the season 3 Miami Grand Prix.
Season 2 finale, that same thing happened with Hecaron,
Yeah,
he just got
in
disqualified.
Miami,
And he
Yeah,
lost
same
because
thing
of that the
happened to me.
championship.
That race, though, if I could just interrupt you there, Oscar, I can remember back to that race, of course. I was going to mention we haven't had a rainy race in TRL in a while. The last rainy race I can think of was in the US, in Miami. But in that race, Hecaron got disqualified for overtaking under yellow flags. He couldn't let the person back in front. He got disqualified, and all hell broke loose. So Sweaty is out of the US Grand Prix under the most bizarre circumstances. There's nothing we can do. Oscar
Yeah.
in the US of A. We'll be back in a minute.
There's nothing we can do. You can
You can unmute yourself now. You can mute yourself now, Oscar. Right, let's see if there's anyone else we can talk to. I'll have a quick word with our race leader, Ryu Zappu. Is Ryu willing to talk? Can he talk? That's the question, considering the fact that he is the front of the field. Right. We'll talk to Sen Manders. Then you are live on TRL. Then Manders can't talk. Right, then we'll head... You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Then what just happened? Because that hasn't happened in a long time.
At the moment, I don't really know myself. Stefan says it's because the safety car didn't move. I didn't see it since POV, so I don't really know.
because it seemed that like when they were coming up to the safety car wasn't going quick enough, and then well, all chaos broke loose, and clearly the game didn't give Sweaty enough time to slow down and get behind the safety car. That's what it looked like.
Well, if we can remember back to the F1 22 days, the safety car glitch was extremely prevalent. I'm just gonna ask you something else, Sen. Considering the fact that Smotchek had his moment on the opening lap of the race, this weekend has gone from being perfect to just being utterly abysmal.
Yeah, I saw his POV. Yeah, it was like Emo was at the inside, and he just didn't give him space, and he spun. So like, nothing much happened there. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Sen, and best of luck for your sole drive remaining in the race. Right, well, we should have a safety car restart in the next couple of seconds. Ryu Zappu leads the field on lap 9 of 28 of the US Grand Prix. If you're just joining us, Mr. Storm and Liam Plutner in the commentary box. Safety car in this lap, as was prophesized by myself. Ryu to lead the field to the green flag.
All
Bottas
hail
in
the
second,
Messiah.
Hecker on third,
Prophet.
and crucially Oscar in 15th. He's gained a couple of positions through that safety car period.
What's going
But
on
the
with
crucial thing
Experto
is,
and
as the
Magnus?
back of the field just keep tripping over each other, not sure what's happening. But Bottas has to outscore Oscar by 6 points to win the title tonight. He's outscoring him by 18 as it stands, as we are ready to go to green flag racing once again. Ryu Zappu will have the ability to go whenever he wants, and he is a king of the restart, as we've saw numerous times before in TRL.
Currently,
When
we're having a
does he
little bit
go?
of playback issues, so it's lagging quite a bit. Apologies for that.
Ryu Zappu waiting until the last second to go. He's still waiting, and now he goes. Hecaron and Bottas will undoubtedly be annoyed at Ryu taking the utmost amount of time to go back to full-time racing. As Sweaty retires from the session, Wapping trying to go right around the outside of Hecaron, can't get the move done. As Bottas will try and hunt down Ryu Zappu now, he will have the opportunity to be the driver that tries to pass Ryu on the back straight, as the championship leader looks to solidify his championship tonight, here and now in the US. But boy oh boy would Ryu Zappu love to win at the track that he won his first TRL title back in Season 2 of Tireless Racing League nearly 2 years ago. So Ryu leads from Bottas in second, Hecaron third, Wapping is in fourth with Theo fifth. Not much chaos in that safety car restart. The field joined together in a little bit of a train as Bottas looks to break the toe. I'm not sure why he's weaving so much, as Hecaron's going to go right around the outside, but can't get the move done.
And
Not yet, anyway.
currently it's quite laggy for me, so apologies if I'm not able to commentate perfectly on things. And also, as I said before, the YouTube stream is struggling a little bit at the moment, so I will have to go and check that. But I don't want to take the viewers' eyes off of the racing action. But Ryu Zappu with a good enough restart, a bit interesting, let's just say, on the restart in regards to
That can be
his
penalised.
conduct.
Let's not forget back to a couple of TRL races in the past where some restarts have been questioned. I think in Saudi Arabia a couple of years ago we had one of them, but Ryu hasn't had the worst first lap after the restart in the world, as Bottas has a small little slide coming out of the final corner. DRS re-enabled. We have got 18 laps left in the US Grand Prix. 18 laps left for Bottas to consider the chance of winning the world title. Oscar's only gained 2 spots on the restart, and he's a second behind Smotchek. He still needs a miracle. He still needs something drastic to happen to Bottas. But imagine the scenes. Zappu and Bottas came together. They have fought for race wins before in the past. They have fought not for championships, but for glory in the past, both in TRL, both in Tireless, I should say, and in Turbo Racing League. And the next chapter of a storied rivalry continues here and now at the Circuit of the Americas, with Ryu leading, Bottas in second, Hecaron in third position, somehow, someway finding the chance to be on the podium to fight for race wins. But we'll find out whether Bottas is going to have the opportunity to go past. Of course he will. He's going to have to go the long way around, but he's going to get the move done coming down to turn 12. Valtteri Bottas leads the US Grand Prix in a race that he would love to win the World Championship.
Wait a minute.
With Ryu in
I
second and
think
Hecaron third.
I've got all sorts of technical issues right now, Luke. So the timing screens are glitching, and also it says Hecaron's currently in the lead, which is a bit confusing for me. I don't know why that's happening. So apologies to our viewers who may be experiencing some technical issues. We are like Sky Sports Darts on Thursday. We are not
It couldn't be as bad
functioning
as them, though. Couldn't be as bad as them.
very, very well. So apologies about that. I'm trying to get that sorted out at the moment as the TV director and co-commentator. So unfortunately, you may experience a loss in pictures for a few moments while we try and resolve those issues. But Luke can keep you guys updated on the commentary in a sort of radio kind of format, as I'm trying to currently...
When Liam says that we're gonna, if we're gonna reference guys, some problems of covering the Premier League darts in the week, we're not coming back. We're never coming back. Okay. We're gonna have to do a little bit of radio for a while until we can get those issues sorted. Smolchek picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit extensions. Bottas extending his lead out to 0.6 of a second from Ryu Zappu, and at the moment the championship battle almost seemed hopeless now for Oscar. He is currently in a net P11, but he needs to finish in front of Bottas. If Bottas wins the race, it is done. Unless, of course, Oscar gets the fastest lap of the race, which probably isn't going to happen. He hit great qualifying pace in the 40 or so minute session we had earlier on this evening. His race pace has been pretty poor so far. He finds himself in 13th position, and he finds himself losing the championship here tonight. Sam Rose and Mr. Business going wheel to wheel. Sam Rose in 7th position. Mr. Business trying to get past the ever-president of TRL, but he can't do so at the moment. Smotchek in 12th, with Oscar in 13th, Excuzu and Xfirta going wheel to wheel. Xfirta trying to hold on to 10th position. He does so. Smotchek and Oscar once again trading positions, but Oscar once again can't get it done.
Yeah, unfortunately, there isn't much I can do. The only windows I've got open on my computer are the 3 that are needed to stream this, and the graphic settings are as low as they can be. So I'm afraid that we're just gonna have to deal with this and hope that the issues work themselves out.
Score update from Murrayfield. Scotland seem to be throwing it away. The gap is close to 8 points. Scotland 35, Wales 27. Wales have just scored a try and will have a chance to convert to have 29 points. 4 minutes left in that one. 16 laps left in the US Grand Prix. Bottas leads from Zappu in second, Hecker on third, Theo fourth. The rest of the top 10 occupied by Wapping Westreezy, Sam Rose, Mr. Business, Magnus Sheep, the reigning and defending champion, and Excuzu in 10th position. But Ryu Zappu will have the best chance in a couple of laps to retake the lead off the US Grand Prix. He's only 3.5 tenths behind. He will have DRS. He does use his overtake button. Bottas defends all the way over to the left-hand side of the track, but it's too easy for Ryu Zappu as he retakes the lead of the Grand Prix, which he won 2 years ago, to give him the Season 2 Tireless Racing League World Championship, coming back from 13 points down in that final day of the season.
Currently, it's
as
just
he leads the US Grand Prix.
Currently, it's a very, very similar case to to earlier on in the race when it was Sweaty and Ryu Zappu running at the front. It's just sort of a case of the Chuckle Brothers, to me, to you, to me, to you. But an update from Leigh Sports Village. Man United are now 2-0 up against Sunderland in the Women's FA Cup. May Laetitia with the captain of the Red Devils, who hasn't actually missed a single game for United in the last few seasons, which is crazy. But anyway, to get back to this, it's weird because right now it says the safety car's out, even though it is not. But that's been the case since the safety car came out originally. So another glitch, and well, some people at EA wonder why nobody's buying the F1 games anymore. Well, this is why. It is glitchy and glitchy and glitchy. If this was a song, it would be, well,
it would be awful. Let's just put it like that. Back to the TRL action at hand, though. Lap 14 of 28, TJ Rexy picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit extensions. Titan has had an absolutely awful race, considering the fact that he's ditched the commentary box for this. He's over 12 seconds behind. He really doesn't have the pace to race in T1.
I was going to see quite a cruel comment, and that is maybe you should have stayed in the commentary box, but then I wouldn't be here. So either way, sorry, Titan.
And your blessing is in that regard. You might not be here next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Nobody might not be here next week. We could all get fired. We could all get banned from the server. Everything could go drastically wrong. TRL could be over tonight. Everyone.
Nuclear bomb. World War III.
But that's never happened before, and it will never happen. Theo gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. It seems like everyone's picking up some form of track limit extension warnings, considering the fact that this is a notoriously hard track to avoid getting warnings at. Of course, it happened quite a bit at Jeddah 2 weeks ago. I wasn't sure about what happened in Abu Dhabi, but probably would have been less than Jeddah.
I suppose it's a case of if everybody extends track limits, what's the point in enforcing them in the first place? A bit like prohibition in America. What is the point in enforcing it if nobody is going to follow it and everybody's just going to break it? As we got a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3, probably for Titan, I think.
Yep. And, Titan's had a storied history of ruining TRL races. He hasn't ruined this one, yes, I'd say that. So of course he had his big incidents with Hecaron back in the Season 2 British Grand Prix and the Season 2 Mexican Grand Prix. Deliberately crashed out of the race and nearly ruined it for Ryu Zappu, and then the following week deliberately crashed Ryu Zappu.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that this guy deliberately crashed people out and he hadn't been banned for race fixing?
He was banned. He was banned for like a good 6 months, and then he's come back in the last couple of months. He has restored himself to some form of former glory as Theo goes past Hecaron, but Titan's racing history in TRL is certainly not the cleanest. But he is thankfully out of everyone's sight. A quick disclaimer from Murrayfield: Wales's try was disallowed, so Scotland will retain a 13-point lead, and they're well on the way to winning.
Only 13? Wasn't it 25 earlier?
Yes,
oh my.
It was.
Nearly bottled. We're bottling it.
Well, you were, but you're not.
Yay!
At the front of the race, Bottas and Ryuzapu haven't really been trading positions for the last couple of laps, but the guys in between 3rd and 6th certainly have been. Sam Rose and Excuzu also going wheel to wheel for P8. Sam Rose tries to do a Max Verstappen at the 2017 race, and he nearly spins out of contention. That would have been very, very bad for the former champion, but we'll take you back to the battle
he's
for
already
P3.
he's already had an
We're
incident
right on board with
qualifying.
Hecaron, considering the fact that he and Mastries are the only two in that group not to have a time penalty. Wapping in 4th position does, Theo does. Let's take a look at the amount of time penalties for some of the drivers. Theo 13 seconds, Wapping 10, Excuzu 13. That's absolutely incredible.
And I don't want to interrupt you, Luke, but with the battle at the front, it's so tight between Bottas and Ryuzapu heading into the S's section. But to go back, 4th and 3rd, still scrapping. It's beautiful racing between these drivers. Whilst there's gaps, there's some very lovely battles going on, and if this was a dinner, this would be a lovely Sunday roast at Toby Carvery, although other restaurants are available. And look, clearly
we are just about to go back to the front of the race, and it's a great chance for Ryuzapu to get in front. He takes the lead of the race again. I am just receiving news from Sam Manders, which I'm not going to display publicly just yet. Sam Manders is giving me a bit of information about a certain driver we're not going to talk about just about for now. Hopefully that will be revealed on Storm's News in the next couple of hours or days or months or years. It doesn't matter.
You are a machine, man. You know what you can and can't say, and you're coming up with things for you to say for your news segment, so more people will tune in. That is a marketing machine there, ladies and gentlemen. Smot check.
Oh god, I have to wait 20. I have to wait 22 days to formally announce this. We're going to completely disregard what I've said in the last couple of seconds, because that announcement will be made on March the 30th. But we're not gonna dwell on that any longer.
End of March. Wow,
give me a
that
piece
is
of news there. Back to the battle of the front. We've got 12 laps left. This race has gone really, really quickly, considering the fact that we've only had one safety car period. But Bottas is only 2.5 tenths behind. Theo and Wapping 3rd and 4th, they are destined to go very far down the order considering the amount of track limit penalties they have. And Hecaron is on for a rare podium, but a very well deserved one, I think.
Although don't speak too soon, because West Risey is right behind, and these two are going to be having their fierce battle for the podium. And if something happens to them, well, the man who started last, the 2-time champion Magnus Sheep, could somehow get an unlikely podium potentially. But
Bottas retakes the lead of the US Grand Prix, of course. He's only around 15-20 minutes away from winning the TRL title for the very, very first time. It hasn't been the best of races for Oscar, who of course is on a penalty, but he gets past Sam Rose to go into 9th place on track. We'll see what Oscar is able to do. Maybe one more safety car period could swing the potential of this race.
I mean, imagine
anyway.
that.
It could swing the title race anyway. But as it stands, Oscar and Sam Rose come together, and Sam Rose loses an end place.
And that is going to be very controversial. And and there's big contact. There's big contact between Smodzik and Oscar, but they're both
Ryuzapu at the front. Ryuzapu's dived down the inside of the final corner of the track to retake the lead of the Grand Prix. Sam Rose gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
Now,
with 11 laps to go, the battle at the front only heating up, and Ryuzapu could be on for an historic win here.
Ryuzapu breaking the pattern of the overtakes only being down the back straight. Apologies for my excitement there, but I thought that there was enough contact there that Oscar was out, but it was just the way that the camera looked and the level of ghosting that was going on. But fierce battles going on.
I don't blame you, to be honest. The way the game does that is absolutely terrible. But Sam Rose did pick up end plate damage from his little bit of contact from Oscar there. Notchek sees the opportunity to go around the outside, then to the inside, can't get it done. Oscar once again on the rear of both of those men. Mr. Business only a second behind them, but we go to the battle at the front. As
Oscar's on the
inside. Yet again.
Oh, this is tight.
Whoa. Calm yourself. My god.
Smodzik gets ahead of Sam Rose. Oscar gonna follow him through. Is Oscar gonna go for the double move here? Oh, There we go, Stin, nearly a bit of contact between the two
But
of them.
Smolchek is very wide, and Oscar has to take this opportunity realistically. He's going to have to go right around the outside through turn number 13. He makes a lovely bit of contact with Smolchek. Has a good opportunity to send it down the inside. Does send it down the inside. Contact made. But he manages to hold on. More contact made. Small slide to the rear. Oscar starting to lose his head.
Arnaud
As
and
Smolchek has a
Villeneuve-
moment.
Arnaud and Villeneuve at Dijon Heritage right there.
Smolchek and Mr. Business now colliding. Smolchek is way off the track. What is
Both of them
happening
go
to
off.
Smolchek? He goes from 9th to 12th in the space of 4 corners.
And, well, this battle here, to say that the drivers have lost their heads, well, let's just say they're all chickens at a slaughterhouse, because this is absolute chaos. And Oscar and Sam
Samro's
Rose
diving down the
still
inside of Oscar.
battling.
He's very lucky not to clip his right-left tire, or his rear-left tire, I should say.
Oh, Wes
Wes
Rice's got a
gets
penalty.
another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
Another,
which
I think
means
that's
that
his
Hecaron
first.
is essentially
I think
now
that's his
safe.
First, yeah. So Hecaron
Yeah.
is now safe. Hecaron and Magnusheep are now safe. They just need to keep it on the aisle as Smolchek gets another penalty in 12th. As he's dropped back a little bit from Mr. Business, Sam Rose and Oscar. Although I think on the last lap when they were coming out of turn number 12, I think Sam Rose made a little bit of contact with Oscar, because I think
That's right, yeah.
I saw a bit of movement from Oscar's car, so I think there was a little bit of contact between the two of them. But it was absolute chaos. It was very tricky to keep account on everything. Update on the stream, it is completely fixed now, and everything looks actually pretty presentable, which is quite good.
Yay! Chris Raman and Xfirto running down towards turn 12, battling for P13, of course, for no points at the moment. Titan 41 seconds behind TJ Rexy, which would mean at the front he's a minute now behind Ryu Zapu. And there is the slimmest of chances now, with 9 laps left, that he could be lapped, which would be utterly embarrassing in a 50% race.
Indeed. He is Niels Coulin. He is Niels Coulin in F2 at Italy. He is.
Is he the next Ricardo Rosset?
No, that's insulting to Ricardo Rosset, mate.
We all know what my relative John Watson's thoughts about him were.
Well, I actually had an article that I wrote about partly about your relative. I don't know if you actually, if I didn't promote it, but I released it at 4 o'clock this morning. But Magnusheep's got a
Of course I
penalty,
didn't see it then. Magnusheep gets a 3-second time penalty.
and as a result,
From
Hecaron
Liam's racing career. Magnusheep down in 8th position, and now everyone from 5th all the way down to 13th has some form of a time penalty, which means that Hecaron, as long as he keeps it on the road, is home and hosed. But back to the battle at the front. Bottas hasn't been able to get past Ryu Zapu for a number of laps. He won't be able to get past him coming down to turn 12 this time around either. So Ryu Zapu just about holding on to the lead of the US Grand Prix. And what a way to win a race this would be.
It's been a very, very good defensive drive. These two driving absolutely incredibly. And guess who's joined the battle, Luke? Guess who's joined the battle? Theo.
Considering this fact he has 13 seconds of time penalties, I wouldn't worry too much about him.
I mean, he could still have interference in this battle potentially, though. And he will, he'll be there to pick up the pieces. I mean, who knows what could happen.
Live
But,
championship standings at the moment. Bottas only needed to outscore Oscar by 6 points this evening. He is doing a fantastic job of it. He's outscoring him by 17 points tonight, of course.
And if
he
you
has the fastest lap. He won't be able to outscore him by 17 points next season. The maximum amount of points he'll be able to outscore a driver by is 14, considering the fact that we are moving to 12 points for a win next season for season 5.5.
Well, if you're wanting the points, then potentially, I mean, according to our numbers, Bottas is now on 170 points, and Oscar is on 200 at the moment, discarding fastest laps and penalties and things like that. Because if
penalties will inevitably be applied at this point, but as it stands, Valtteri Bottas only has to negotiate 7.5 laps more, and he will be the TRL champion.
I think right now, if I'm him, if I'm in his head, if I'm him, I'm just thinking, get the car home, finish second, finish third, get whatever points you need. Although they are racing drivers, they will race for every bit of turf that is on the asphalt.
Thank you very much, Will Buxton. It's true, that sounds like something he would say. Bottas is one that does not back down from a fight. However, the fight in his mind at the moment would be, do I really, really want to himself with the championship tonight with a stupid move on Ryu Zappu.
You're copying
And let's
exactly
be
what I'm
honest,
saying.
it would be a
basically.
fairy tale. It would be a
Well, that's
fairy
it.
tale for Ryu Zappu to come back to this track 2 years after winning the World Championship in TRL back in Tireless, when we were called Tireless, to come and win it for Ferrari, the same team which he won the championship with, and of course the same night moved to Alfa Romeo. He goes to the left-hand side of the track for some strange reason, trying to break the toe, but he didn't really need to. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that was a very interesting choice of strategy there. I mean, pointless weaving does not gain you any time and actually makes you lose time, and depending on how much you weave, it could get you a penalty, of course. But I don't know if they have that coded in the F1 games, but I've never actually had that problem, so I don't know if that is something that exists.
No, you actually don't get penalised for that. You can probably get penalised for it in the league.
Oh, spot check with another penalty. It's spot check.
Titan 6 seconds behind. Jamboy has joined us late. Way to go, my friend, because I was trying to line you up to commentate earlier on. Hopefully Jamboy will be here for next week's race, and I'm going to advertise it right now. Of course, we'll be live from 4:30 next week for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The championship might be done and dusted. In fact, it probably will be done and dusted. But it is still, of course, the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
We could commentate as a trio for a little bit.
At this track.
We could commentate as a trio for a little bit if that's something that you're interested in, guys. But currently, Theo doing a very solid job. I mean, he's gotten away from the battle with Wapping and Hecaron, and now excuse you as well. And he's certainly put a gap out. But if he hadn't, maybe he might actually hang on to third, depending on how much this battle rages on. I mean, what did you say? It was 13 seconds of time penalties he had. Well, currently,
13 seconds.
6-second gap. If Hecaron gets a penalty, could potentially be on
He'll
for
be
a
back
podium.
on, you never know. You never know.
So it's still very, very nip and tuck there. And, oh my goodness, another penalty for Smotchek. And McLaren are going to be just thinking of the what-ifs from this race. They could have had a 1-2. They could have been fighting for the win. And all of that has gone just because of, partly because of the F1 game and partly because of incidents which have happened for other drivers and of course for the McLaren drivers themselves. But at the front, it's still Ryu Zappu, Bottas and Theo that is the top three at the moment. Three different teams.
But now at least. We're into the final 5.5 laps of the US Grand Prix. Smotchek is out, but Smotchek has retired in the pits.
So
maybe the hopes were getting up. Maybe for someone like Oscar that we would have got a very, very late safety car. But Titan might be lapped in a couple of minutes. Titan ruined Ryu Zappu's chance at the world title back in Season 1. Imagine if he ruined the race for someone this time around.
So Titan currently is coming towards turn 17 on the track. And Ryu Zappu is coming into turn 14, so he isn't far off, and chances are he probably will be lapped. I mean, that's probably what 4, 5, 6, 7 second gap, so 5 laps. The pace that they're going at, they probably will close up enough for that to happen. And could he have a role to play in who wins this race potentially? Who knows? But Hecaron and
5 to go here. Ryu Zappu leads. Bottas in second. Theo third. Hecaron is in fourth. Hecaron will most likely finish on the podium, but he has a huge slide coming out of the final corner, which could allow Wapping to have a good chance to overtake him into turn 1. We're not focusing on that battle, though. We're going to focus on Oscar, who's down in 9th position and is behind the reigning and defending champion Magnesheep, who of course will be who will be losing the title tonight to his teammate Bottas and one of his good friends, so I'm not sure he'll mind too much. The championship will stay at Kick Sauber for the 3rd season in a row. They've really formed a dynasty there, one of the great TRL teams. Bottas and Magnesheep, a simply unstoppable duo. Only 4.5 laps left, and we will find out whether Bottas will take the title. Can he win the race on track, though? We're about to find out, because these are some of the only drivers that are affected by track limit warnings whatsoever in this race. Bottas gets very close coming down into turn 12, but it's always Ryu who gets the better exit. Theo right on the gearbox of Bottas. He won't be able to do anything to win the race overall, but he could win it on track if something amazing happens.
I mean, anything could happen. I mean, if Hecaron gets penalties, or if he has an incident and needs to have a little incident, he could be on for it, depending on the amount of penalties that Wapping and Excuse You has, because currently the gap 7 seconds. So, I mean, we were theorizing, you know, if Hecaron gets a penalty, maybe, you know, maybe Theo has a chance at a podium. But at the moment, how much are they losing a lap to these three? Because it's certainly a certainly
Well, I'm gonna
amount.
time it now because he's 8 seconds behind, coming on to the fourth final lap of this race. Bottas very, very close. Theo very, very
Theo
close.
going down the
he tries to go up the inside of Bottas. He won't make the move.
Backside.
He's smart enough to think about the championship.
Indeed.
He does not want to ruin it for Bottas. I wouldn't.
And a Titan update for you. He is just coming towards the end of the S's section now, as the leaders are midway through it. So it's
More than midway through. There is a good chance the Titan might be lapped here.
Indeed.
Oh, Ryan Zappi
And
picks
Ryan
up a
Zappi's got
penalty.
penalty! And just like that, Bottas is on for the win.
However, we're going to find out how many track limit warnings Bottas has. He had one on lap number 1 of the race. Has he had any since?
I'm gonna check.
I haven't seen any
going
so
to
far.
check.
It doesn't look like it. No, he hasn't. So Bottas just has to keep it on the track for the next couple of laps. And the race win is his, and the title is his.
I mean, what a way to win the title by winning the race and making sure that, I mean, this race will be decided by if you can keep it on the asphalt or not. And Bottas has. Bottas and Hecaron have. And nobody else apart from Experto and Titan, who has been very slow in this race, you have to say, and be brutally honest about that, have been able to do that. And yeah, it's looking very, very good right now.
And Titan is going to be lapped right here, right now. So we're going to see whether Titan is going to ruin the race for the top 3. No, he doesn't. Titan learns from his mistakes at the Brazilian Grand Prix nearly a year ago. He's not going to win the championship for anyone, which means that with 3 laps to go, Hecaron only lost a 10th of a second on that lap. Sure, he leads a huge trolley train, but he is in a fantastic position to finish on the podium for Mercedes, while his teammate Sam Rose is down in 10th position. Ryu Zappu leading the race on track. Yellow flag. Who is that for? That's for Mr. Business, but we can't have a safety car this late, which means that Oscar's going to have to hope that Bottas crashes out or spins out or something drastic happens. He runs wide, though.
And I'm going to go and quickly do a quick check and see if that has been noted as a warning. And I'll go and quickly go and check that right now. As we'll look at Bottas's lap times. He, as you said, got a warning on lap 1. And he did not get a warning so far on this lap. So
because he lost time. He lost time, and he
thank
didn't
you.
actually gain anything by extending the track. So Bottas gets very lucky there.
Rexy
TJ
with a
Rexy picks up
penalty.
yet another 3-second time penalty. But we head into the final 2.5 laps of the US Grand Prix. Can Valtteri Bottas win the race on track? He would like to finish first on track, but he's going to win the race overall, and he's going to win the championship. Excuso goes past Hecaron. Hecaron makes contact with Excuso. Hecaron's going nearly around. Wapping goes into 4th. It's all kicking off in the back, but somehow Hecaron survives.
And Excuso's going for the move now. And guess who's in there? Up in 6th
Oscar
now.
is!
Oscar! Oscar has come out of
Oh
nowhere.
my goodness. How many points does 6th place get you? Only 8. So Bottas is outscoring by
17.
11 at the moment. We're on to the penultimate lap of the
17
race.
taking into account the
Oscar just
penalties.
needs to make up a couple of more positions. But if Bottas wins the race, the title race is over. 2 laps to go, Liam. What a race.
I know. Fantastic. Hecaron, Wapping, Oscar, Magnus, and Excuse You. And now West Risey all battling for 4th place. And Theo, shout out to Theo, doing a brilliant job up in 3rd. Whilst he does have 13 seconds of penalties, as it stands, he will be on for 4th. Potentially.
Mr. Business is out of the race. He's retired in the pit lane, as did Smotchek. He did the same thing a couple of laps ago. So Bottas will have 2 more chances to overtake Ryu Zappu on this back straight to win the US Grand Prix and the championship on track. He's 5.5 tenths back. He will have to probably wait until the final lap of the race. He has a small
Here
look
comes
to the
Theo.
inside, letting Ryu know he's there. But realistically, all he has to do, keep it on the track for the next 2 or so minutes, and the title is his.
Indeed. And the battle's still raging on between 4th and 5th Wapping and Hecaron at the moment. Wapping just a little bit far ahead, enough for him to hang on to 4th place, but it's still very tight as we head
Breaking
onto
news,
the final
sorry
lap.
Liam, breaking news to interrupt you from McLaren. Sam Mounders has given me the go-ahead to say that they are signing Max Moron for season 5.5. McLaren in a little bit of a pickle with their driver contracts, but we head on to the final lap of the US Grand Prix. Ryu Zappu is 3 and a bit miles away from winning the race on track, with Bottas in second, just a minute and a half from winning the TRL Championship. Theo has a small look to the inside, slides through turn 1. Bottas makes a bit of contact with Ryu Zappu, but it doesn't matter in the slightest. All he has to do is bring the car home, and the championship is truly his. Sam Rose, who was his championship rival in the very first season ever of TRL back in 2022 and into 2023, has picked up a 3-second time penalty. He has fallen off in the last few years, but Bottas has done far from that. He's had poor seasons in the past, but he has always been there to prove why he is one of the best drivers in TRL. He will have one more chance to take the lead of this race, and look how close he is to Ryu Zappu. He's going to use all of his battery. He's going to use DRS. Ryu will defend to the inside. Bottas will have to go the long way around, but he takes the lead of the US Grand Prix, and he's going to win the championship by winning the race on track.
And Theo's gone down the inside of Ryu Zappu, so it's a brilliant move.
But let's not forget that Theo also has a time penalty, as we'll take you through the last couple of laps, the last couple of corners, I should say, of the US Grand Prix. What a way to win a world championship it has been. Bottas had to outscore Oscar by 6 points tonight, and he has done exactly that. And he is going to win the world championship in the best way possible. 2 more corners to negotiate. Flick it left for the penultimate time, then flick it left for the last time, and for the first time ever, Valtteri Bottas is the TRL World Drivers' Champion!
And he does a little flick spin coming across the line. Still got the battle for 4th going on. Oscar's up in 4th, and this is incredible. So as it stands, Theo might be on for a podium here, and is he? He's got a podium! Theo's gotten the podium!
Hecron doesn't get the podium.
Theo takes the podium.
Theo does instead.
14,000.
But we have crowned a new Drivers' Champion tonight. And his name is Valtteri Bottas, who wins it for the first ever time after 10 seasons of trying. He's finally done it. He is the TRL champion. And Kick Sauber get their Finnish championship 3-piece.
And just a final quick update from Lee Sports Village. It's now 2-1, so United Women hanging on a little bit, and I'm getting a little bit nervous. I'm just going to go and have a look and see what's...
Valtteri Bottas tops the podium, not just as a race winner, but as a World Drivers' Champion.
Emil Alkhupuro, you are the Season 5 TRL Champion.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Just mute yourself for a second. We'll take you through your final race results of the US Grand Prix. And for the first time ever, after 10 seasons of attempting to win the World Championship, and for the first time ever, he is the world champion in TRL, and what a way to go and do it. He wins the US Grand Prix after 47 minutes of incredible racing. Ryu Zappu finishes second, Theo third, with Hecron in 4th position. Oscar Magdashi, Westrizi, Wapping, Excusa and Chris Rahman round out the top 10, with Xfirto, TJ Rexy and Sam Rose the last finishers. Titan was lapped, Mr. Business, Smotcheck, Racing Diabetes, Marcus and Sweaty all retired, but we are now going to speak to the new TRL World Champion, Valtteri Bottas.
Hello.
Congratulations, Valtteri. It's your first title after 10 seasons of trying, 5 in tireless, 5 in turbo. How happy are you?
Pretty happy. Took way too long though, but still.
How did you feel the race went? Because for the first portion of it, you were kind of lagging behind Ryu, and you were kind of lagging behind the McLaren race leader. Looking back at the race, after Sweaty got disqualified, you kind of just stuck with Ryu. You didn't have to overtake him, but how good was it to win the race and win the title?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the first part, in the gap one, I made 4 positions up to P3, and then I just failed off DRS immediately. I was like 1.6 behind. I just couldn't get that bad because they were just DRS swapping all over again. And then in the second stint, after it was just me and Zappu, I tried to overtake him and get away, but then I almost spun. I just decided to play it safe, let Zappu lead the race until the final lap, and then just overtake on the final lap.
Was this one of the best races you've ever had in TRL?
I think it was one of the most boring ones, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was a very
taking a look at the overall situation of the race, though, like, obviously coming back from not the best qualifying in the world. Of course, you still you got in the front row, but obviously the 5-place grid penalty that affected you. From 7th to 4th in the opening lap, and then up to 3rd, and then to obviously fight with Ryu. It must be a pretty good feeling to come back from such a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, after the qualifying, I thought that it was going to be like me, Ryu, the McLaren, and Oscar fighting. I don't know what happened to Oscar at the start of the race. I think he spun or something else happened to him. And at that point, it felt like I just have to save this and gain as many points to Oscar as possible. I didn't think about the race victory. I was just thinking about the entire championship. But after, like, obviously the McLaren driver got disqualified, then I was like, okay, me and Zabu can do this now.
So after 3 seasons, of the last 3 seasons, Magnus Sheep's won 2 titles. You've won 1. It's been a finished 3-peat in the championships, a Sauber 3-piece. The Constructors' Championship would cap off an absolutely incredible season for you all. How badly do you want to win it? Because it's almost certain that you are going to win it.
I don't know. Have we even won it? Have we won it actually even? I think we might have won it that race as well.
I will actually
no, I don't think we did.
There's about
can do the math.
95 points left after this race, I'd like to say.
26 plus 26, but 18 plus 18 plus 8 plus 7. It's 103 points that we need to be ahead by. How much did we always outscore Alpine by? I have no idea.
Well, I'll get that for you in a couple of minutes. But congratulations, Valtteri Bottas. You are the Season 5 Turbo Racing League World Drivers Champion.
Thank you.
Let's get a word with Oscar, who succeeds the championship.
Yellow.
Oscar, congratulations on a great recovery drive after what happened on the opening lap of the race. How disappointed are you, though, not to take the battle?
To be honest, I was quite prepared that I will lose the World Championship. I wasn't expecting to do that in Kota. I was like, okay, Q1 went well, but after Q2, there was something starting to happen with my pedals, which started to like having little issues, especially with the brake pedal, where it didn't want to go fully off. Like I think nearly someone like Leclerc had issues in Austria 22. So I was like, okay, I'm fucked a bit. Yeah, I tried my best, of course. Yeah, had a moment in lap 1. Pretty happy to take P for the track. Maybe one of the most, I don't know, craziest, my aggressive race. I don't know how I can explain it, but yeah, I just take what I needed to.
Looking forward to the next 2 races. The Constructors' Championship battle is probably done. What's next for you coming into Season 5.5?
Gather some data, get ready for the next season, and yeah, try to push for the championship. Of course, Emil will be very hard opponent. Ryu, you can never count him out. Theo, a lot of good drivers I can mention who you cannot count out for a championship. So if everything goes right, we can even have up to a 5-6 way driver battle for a 5.5.
Thank you very much for the interview, Oscar, and the best of luck next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Quick word with Ryu Zapu.
What's up?
Ryu, commiserations, because I really thought for the longest period of time that you were going to win that race. What went wrong when you got the track limits warning?
I just kind of dug myself into a little hole, kind of pressured myself when I didn't really need to, and I just made some silly track limits mistakes, but it happens to the best of us, and I'm really happy with the result, even though it's not a win.
So another good battle with Bottas sees him crowned the champion, where of course you won your first title back in Season 2 of Tireless Racing League. I suppose I did allude to it in commentary that you've had many great battles over the seasons and over the last couple of years. How happy was it? How happy were you to share the track?
It's great to be racing with my friends again. So hopefully I can maybe win something, or at least do really good in the next 2 races again.
Final question: home race next week. Are you gonna do what you should have done back in Season 3, I should say, and win the title? Season 2, sorry.
We'll see. We'll see how my motivation is, but maybe one day again.
Well, very best of luck, Ryan, next week, and hopefully we'll see.
Thank you.
Right. I think we'll hand it back one more time to Valtteri Bottas before we finish up tonight's program.
I've
wanted to ask you this for the longest amount of time, because obviously you were in the first ever TRL battle back in 2022, 2023 with Sam Rose. Did the loss in that championship battle kind of stay with you for a while? Because it's been a very long time since then, and you've got nowhere really near since.
I don't think so. I mean, looking back at the season, I mean, I deserved to lose the season. I was slower than Sam for like every single race bar like one or two. So, and then I've also had possibilities of winning the championship when I was fighting with was it Zapu and then Dean again. So it wasn't like with me the entire time. It probably was with me for like season 2 and 3, but then after that it just went away.
You mean Hackron that season?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it was season 2 where you were in the championship battle. I don't think you were in season 1 battle because I know it was against Dean and Ryu. I know in season 2 it was between you, Hackron, and Ryu.
Right, look, Valtteri, where do we go from here? Can you defend that title next season?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, next season is just an experiment season 5.5, so I have no idea what the event going to look like. There's a new point system. I don't know if we're going to do some random shit for the qualifying format. That's still up for discussion. So I'm hoping to defend it for the season 5.5 and then also season 6 if it doesn't, like, if there's no, like, real champion in 5.5.
Well, thank you very much, Valtteri. Congratulations on the title, and we'll see you next week where you officially can parade the number 1 in your car.
Dankeschön.
Well, no, fair enough, but yeah. I suppose the rule should be, though, in Formula 1. I would like it to be if you win the championship before the final race, you can put the number 1 in your car, but I completely understand why it's like that. And like that, that's it. We're done. Thank you very much, Liam, for being with me this week.
Thank you very much for
Thank you very much on stepping up in short notice as well, because I do like when people do that. I don't like taking time out of people's days to do it, but when people do step up on short notice, that actually makes me like them a lot more, not just as a person, but as a character. And you are, of course, brilliant as always, and that's about it. Thank you very much for your company, Liam.
Thank you.
Right, we'll finish up then. Another fantastic TRL weekend. I said in my opening remarks a couple of hours ago that the championship couldn't be decided tonight on the pure basis of the fact that I didn't know what the championship was. But as I've delved into this weekend's race and I've really got to witness what TRL has to offer in title fights, you really, really do acknowledge the fact that we have some incredible drivers and that the one on top of the world in TRL is almost 99.9% of the time the best driver in TRL. And yet again, it's a Finnish man who wins the title. 10 seasons after getting so close back in 2023, he has finally won the Turbo Racing League Championship, and that man's name is Valtteri Bottas. We're live next week on 4:30 for the Las Vegas Grand Prix in what is certain to be another fantastic race around such a fantastic circuit. But from all of us here, from Liam and myself from the Circuit of the Americas, thank you very much for your company, and we will see you next week. Congratulations to Valtteri Bottas, and we'll see you very soon. Bye from us.